What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. It's time for us to get into WrestleMania week, and we're going to start things off a little bit differently than we normally do. Normally we do TakeOver and then WrestleMania. Well, scheduling means it's a little bit easier to do it the flip side. So we're actually going to start with probably the thing that's going to get the most amount of hits this entire week. WrestleMania 34 predictions. We're going to break down everything on the card from top to bottom. Well, pretty much we're going to start from bottom to top. And we're going to talk about who we think is going to win, what we think is going to happen, what we're excited for, what we think is going to be garbage, everything that we want to talk about. And we're going to hopefully not take 7 hours to do it. So if you look on the timestamp on this and you see that it's like some 4-hour show or something like that, then you know that at the end of it, Tony's sitting there going, all right, we got to do this real fucking quick. Who wins SmackDown tag titles? That kind of a thing. But the three people that are going to be talking for this edition, before we get started, I am, of course, your host as always. My name is Tony Mango, and we've got Robert DeFelice.
Yo, yo.
And we got Callum Wiggins.
Hello.
So, I have talked about this shit over and over and over and over and over and over again for an entire year. Actually, more than a year, because it started with the anti-Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar stuff. I have something like 40-something articles that I've written over the past couple of weeks, and then there's stuff that dates back further than that. This week is like, you know, a crazy amount. I just recorded 2 things for Sportskeeda about my predictions, and I don't think I'm changing any of those predictions on there, but don't click on that one, click on this one. I have changed my opinions about some of these matches, and if you check the website, you will see that there's a chance that I will change the website's predictions as well, based off of what this is. But we're recording this 3:30 Wednesday afternoon. TakeOver hasn't happened yet. There's still Thursday, Friday, Saturday for them to announce some different things. Something might change. That is your warning. Spoiler warning as well. Usually, this stuff is pretty predictable. But one thing that I want to start things off with, which is not on the card, and it's something that I would have thought would have been predictable, John Cena versus Undertaker. We don't have this match right now. And the go-home show of Monday Night Raw seemed like it was the last time that we could have done that, unless they would have done something on SmackDown, which nobody would have seen necessarily coming, and they didn't. So, first things first, I want to ask you guys, do we get John Cena versus Undertaker or not?
I don't think there's a way to get around doing something with them. I'm just worried that what we get might actually be a lot more hokey than what this match in name recognition deserves.
This feud has been garbage, and so it kind of deserves a bit of a like a half-hearted approach at WrestleMania of essentially a shot of John Cena sitting in the crowd. Undertaker's music hits. He essentially undresses from the suit he's probably wearing, and then he gets into the ring, and they have an impromptu match. They'll probably do something along those lines, or some sort of. I'm always getting the impression that they might just have a stare down, and then they build towards WrestleMania 35.
That sucks if they do that. I really don't want to see something where it's just kind of like the whole build-up was wait till next year, because that's what happened with, like, essentially with the Brock Lesnar thing, was just wait until he drops it to Roman Reigns, and in the meantime, we'll just fuck around for a little bit. And we had the Rock thing with John Cena. We did that. It was supposed to be once in a lifetime, and it essentially took 3 years to do it. I don't want to see that. And then for the matter, I don't want to see John Cena stand in the ring, call out The Undertaker, they brawl, and it's not a match. If you're not going to give me John Cena does something where, like, maybe it's, I don't know, halfway through the night, maybe it's 3/4 of the way through the night, they've been showing John Cena ringside, he's been sitting there with Nikki Bella, and every once in a while, they're just kind of like, you know, Renee Young comes up to them, what did you think about that match? And they just go like, this is fucking fantastic, I love this, and really so happy for blah, blah, blah to win. And maybe it gets to like the 3/4 mark, and John Cena has a little in-ring segment, and he just goes, look, I have been sitting here all night, and I just have to try one more time. Undertaker, I'm here, I've got my gear on, let's fucking do this. And then Undertaker comes out and they actually have a match.
But that's so bad.
It sucks, but given the alternative where they don't have a match or they set up something for next year, I don't want this whole thing to just be John Cena sits into the crowd and Undertaker doesn't show up. Or wait for WrestleMania 35. Although, I will say, if they do say wait for WrestleMania 35, I'm probably going to WrestleMania 35. So, a little bit of selfishness as far as if I do end up getting tickets in the future, then I want future me to have that match, kind of. I don't know.
Like a year older, or a year even older than he is now, wrestling John Cena.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think we all could have predicted the fact the match itself isn't going to be very good. And if it is good, then it's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors covering both of their inadequacies due to the fact that Cena doesn't wrestle regularly anymore and Undertaker is pretty much decrepit at this point. So I don't think anyone was expecting a good match out of this, but the fact that they haven't even gone to the lengths to announce it, it either is a testament to the strength of this card that it's already a really strong card, so it doesn't need that match per se. But the fact that they've hyped it up and still haven't delivered, they've got hope that it does well or people are into it. Because otherwise, it's just a giant waste of time. Every segment that happened on Raw of Cena calling it out was just every time 15 minutes completely wasted. Otherwise,
yeah, and it just makes Undertaker look bad. The whole thing was just Undertaker has no balls.
Yeah.
So,
do you think this starts the show if they're gonna do something? You think Cena's hey, I'm really excited to be here, and I'm gonna be a fan tonight, and it's Rusev Day, and let's go, and then just start the show, Taker's music hits, and hey, surprise, Taker and Cena's the first match?
I don't think so, but that'd be pretty fucking awesome if they did that, just to be for the crowd to just be oh shit, I don't think it's happening though.
Ever since WrestleMania, 2027, they start the show with a main event type of match, and this year I'm very worried about what they're going to start the show with.
Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles.
I really hope not.
It's gonna be that. I'm 90% sure it's gonna be that. Granted, I thought that the United States Championship match was gonna go into the pre-show, but they had a little bit of news earlier today that I think points out why that's not the case. Rusev apparently requested his release. And they decided, if we put you in the United States Championship match, you're going to stick around. And that was good enough for him to be all right, cool. So I think that was probably going to be scheduled for the pre-show. And then it was well, we can't just throw him on the pre-show. So let's throw him in the United States title match. Let's make that on the main card. Let's kind of make him seem fine. And now it's actually changing something up to potentially of what I think we might get to with the predictions for that. But I was wrong about that. So I don't think it's a guarantee that Nakamura Styles goes first. But I do think that there is a good chance of it.
I mean, if it's not this Taker thing, I think it'll be the Bryan match. But I know they have to start the show off with a bang.
And that's why I think it's going to be the Intercontinental Championship match. Just try and put one of the best matches out there first, but one that isn't so meaningful that people will get upset that it's the first match.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Does America the Beautiful start the pre-show, or does it start the main show? It starts
the main show.
Okay.
I don't know. I always have it muted. That's when I leave the room for a little.
Well, we know we're getting Chloe by Hallie, or Chloe and Hallie, or Chloe X Hallie. I don't know who the fuck this person or people are. That's one of our potentially 3 musical performances that's happening tonight. Yeah, I'm already skipping the WrestleMania. We know that we're getting that. Elias has already said that he's going to have a musical performance. And that's something I wanted to touch on. That's not something that's officially been announced. It's not a scheduled advertisement type of thing, but Elias doing a musical performance, that is a segment. So we should talk about it. And I guess question number 1, do you guys think that this is going to be combined with the Kid Rock one or separate?
Probably combined. I hope it's combined. I don't want a Kid Rock standalone segment.
I'm hoping what we get here. Well, first off, what I'm hoping is Kid Rock doesn't perform. But that's not going to happen. It's going to happen. WWE loves their shit like that because it gets them a little bit of mainstream press. You know, people go, oh, Kid Rock performed at WrestleMania, and they get posted on some music websites and shit. It's going to happen. I'm just setting aside that that's going to be time for me to catch up on, like, eating another slice of pizza or typing out some more stuff on my articles and stuff. Fine, whatever. Part of me's hoping that if they do the Kid Rock thing, that'll just sort of be like superfluous type of thing. Like maybe they'll have him perform while they're taking care of something else. You know, maybe he performs while everybody's coming to the ring for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, something like that. I don't know. But I could see a scenario here where Elias comes out, he starts talking about how New Orleans sucks, and we get a bunch of legends, like Jeff Jarrett smashes a guitar over his head. Jimmy Hart maybe comes out. There's rumors that The Rock will come out. I don't think that that's the case. And then it ends with, like, let's have a real musical performance here, and then they introduce Kid Rock. I think that's what we're getting.
Ugh. I mean, I'm looking forward to Jeff Jarrett smashing a guitar over Elias's head, but outside of that, yeah, I really hope Kid Rock doesn't perform.
As long as it's just contained into one short, like, 10-minute thing and Kid Rock only performs one song, then I guess I can
That's not happening. If he performs, he wants a whole concert. It'll be WrestleMania 25 all over again.
Well, essentially, I'm not going to get annoyed about it because I won't be in the room while it's happening, so it doesn't really matter too much to me.
I'm hoping he just does the New Orleans song. I don't want to hear fucking whatever else shit he has, you know?
Yeah.
Does he sing that other song that's all like, I want to celebrate? That song? Is that?
That's Kid Rock. Yeah.
So he's got 2 songs for WrestleMania this year?
Yeah.
All right, so he's doing 2.
Which were the same songs that they used 4 years ago. I guess this year he's just going to be there to perform them.
Ugh, I don't like that. But we do know now, at least as far as some confirmation goes, unless they change something up, we know the 3 matches that are going to go on the pre-show. We've got the 2 Battle Royals and the Cruiserweight Championship. I want to start off with the Cruiserweight Championship. If did you guys watch 205 Live?
I haven't watched it since Roderick Strong lost his match.
I've caught up a little bit, bits and pieces. I've mainly just watched like clips, but I just don't have the time to watch the whole episode.
Last night they did basically nothing to set up Alexander and Ali, but at the end of the night they just had, it was really awkward. They had like a video package and that was it. But before they had the video package, they had Drake Maverick come out and do one of those like sit down talking head type of promos. And it came off desperate as hell. He basically, in so many words, said, I mean, I'm not even like mincing some of these words too. Please watch the pre-show. Don't skip it because it's the pre-show. Don't skip it because it's 205 Live. The Cruiserweight Championship match is going to be great. I know you don't want to watch it. I know you don't pay that much attention, but damn it, please. That's basically what he said. It was really sad. I recommend anybody checking that out just to see how desperate it was.
Drake Maverick emotionally addresses the WWE universe. That's what the WWE has labeled this video.
Yeah, the emotion is, come on, please.
I get your point of view for that, but like, can you really blame him?
No, that's the sad part about it. And what sucks is a lot of people, most people, aren't going to take that into consideration because, number one, they weren't watching 205 Live to hear it. And number two, I've talked to so many people, and I've been telling them over and over and over again, 205 Live has really some of the best in-ring action. And people go, meh. So we got this sort of back and forth where a lot of people are like, I'm sick and tired of the soap opera stuff. Everybody's always just cutting promos. Why don't we have more matches? And then you have a show like 205 Live, which is predominantly matches, and people go, I don't want to watch it. It's the Cruiserweights. They're in a no-win situation. But if you've seen Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali in the past, they had 2 or 3 matches before. They were phenomenal.
They're really good.
So I'm hoping that people give this a chance because I think it's going to be one of the best matches of the night.
I think the main reason I turned off 205 Live wasn't due to just that there was going to be a load of matches, because obviously I love the Cruiserweight Classic, so I wanted to see more of those matches. It was more about more along the lines that they were trying to do the WWE storytelling bullshit, but in a very, I don't know, in a more half-assed way, like the endless Noam Dar, Alicia Fox romance angles and stuff like that. It's like you're still trying to do WWE stuff, but you're not giving it any real attention, so all the stuff is going to be crap. And then it just continued when Enzo took over as well. So now it's gone to a point where I can appreciate 205 Live again and can tune in and keep watching because the matches are really good. They've had a tournament which is well laid out, and the right two people are going to be competing for the championship at WrestleMania. I'm disappointed with the fact that obviously it's probably going to go on first, and that means it's going to be to a half-filled stadium, which immediately takes me out of the match whenever I watch it in any kickoff show environment. Like, just see nobody sitting in the stands, it means the match means less to me as a fan watching it, but I'm still going to look forward to it. And I think given the right amount of time and like the freedom to do what I want, it could be definitely one of the top 5 matches on the entire show.
Even though I went with it first, I don't think it's going on first. Just putting that out there. I think it's going to be sandwiched between the two.
No, it'll be on the USA Hour. I think the first thing will be the Andre. The Andre will be like the network exclusive, and then they'll get the Cruiserweight and the Women's on the USA Hour. But it's funny that Callum said that, because that's actually one of the things that Drake Maverick was saying was, I know it's the pre-show, but sit down early because the stadium should be full for this match. Like, a very weird plea to get people to actually be there for the Cruiserweight title match.
Admittedly, though, that's partially on the stadium's behalf. They have to let people in to be able to actually go in. And if they do what they did at SummerSlam, I think it was what it was, where they were just sort of like, well, the card starts at 7 o'clock, so we'll let you in at like 5 or 7. That stuff makes no sense.
Well, don't you think that's on the promotion to be like, hey, we're going to start having matches at 5.
I think it is, but I think it's the security. I think that they're like, they lag behind because it's such a big event and stuff, and I think that they kind of look at it as like, well, it's the pre-show. We don't really have to have people in there, and we're going to start like letting people in from this gate and then not these other ones. And like, I think it's that kind of a thing, but I hope that they don't run into those kind of situations for this. Especially for like the Cruiserweights. Like, it sounds mean to say, but like the Andre, it's like, who fucking cares? The Cruiserweights, I want them to have a good amount of people in the crowd to be able to actually like watch this and pay attention and stuff, because this really could be one of the best matches of the night, if not the best.
Yeah, I mean, last year Neville and Austin Aries was one of the better matches of the entire show as well. That kicked it off. Cruiserweights always deliver when they're given like few restrictions and allowed to have their matches. And Alexander's obviously very good. Ali will like throw himself all over the place to try and get a huge reaction out of this match. But I think if you're going to choose a winner, they've been teasing Cedric Alexander being Cruiserweight champion basically since 205 Live started. So you kind of have to think that it's almost now or never really for him. Now or Neville.
I'm hoping it's Alexander. I would not be shocked at all if Mustafa Ali does win, because they've been really pushing him hard as being somebody who's like a feel-good story and stuff. But I'm sort of hoping that it's maybe like a consolation prize. You get the feel-good story, you get to tell people, your dreams come true, you could go to WrestleMania and do that kind of stuff, and even if you lose, so you can still pick yourself back up and whatever. But at this point, if Cedric Alexander doesn't win, he's had like 5 chances to win and not being given it. So just give him the fucking title, Mustafa Ali can be number 2.
I prefer Ali, so I'm kind of hoping he wins. But yeah, they've been pushing Cedric really hard since the Cruiserweight Classic tournament. So I would not be surprised if Cedric Alexander actually gets it here.
I mean, the main thing for me going with Alexander is that the fact that he's brought up the fact that he's doing it for his daughter. And you never want to be a babyface saying that you're going to do it for a family member and not win, because it makes you look like an idiot.
Well, didn't Mustafa say the same too?
Yeah.
He said that he has a daughter, and he's saying that he is doing it for her, but he's more doing it for like to give a better semblance of people of his ethnicity.
That'd be great if it's like Cedric's like, I'm doing this for my daughter. You have a daughter too, don't you, Mustafa? And he's like, yeah, but fuck that bitch. Turns heel. He's just gonna like, nah, I'm doing it for everybody else's kids. I don't like mine. I'm doing it for the Mrs. kid.
Or
actually, Maria had they had their kid today or yesterday or so too. So congrats to them.
Who?
Yeah,
Frederica or Frederico or something. Frederica Moon, I think.
Frederica Moon Bennett.
Oh, nice.
Or is it Canellis?
Canellis Bennett.
It's Morella.
Did it come out with a unibrow?
Yeah. Actually, he just had a kid, so that's what's funny about it. No, he's. I think his wife's pregnant. They didn't have the kid yet. That's what it is. What were you gonna say?
The only thing that annoys me here about this cruiserweight title match is that it could have been done. Like, as soon as you got rid of Enzo, when you look at the two that are in this tournament final. Like, when they announced the tournament, I assumed it would be, like, Roderick Strong, and honestly, at the time, I was thinking Gargano would be in the tournament. But I thought it would be somebody that you couldn't have had as the face of 205 Live before.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy, Tyler Bate.
I think the tournament did well to, like, introduce those people a bit more and give them a bit of a spotlight on 205 Live.
Really quick, shout out to Buddy Murphy. He did a nasty apron brainbuster on Kalisto.
That was a good match.
Yeah,
again, a reason why people should watch 205 Live. That match was fucking great. I'd be like, nah, I really would rather just watch Paige cut a promo with Absolution again or something like that. Yeah, so we bounced a little bit here. We're all going Cedric, I think, right?
No, I'm going Ali.
You're going Ali. But we are kind of in agreement. The Andre seems like it could be the first match of the night.
Yeah.
And there's a chance it might not be, whatever. We're not fucking holding ourselves hostage here. We don't know all the people that are going to be in the match yet because they haven't announced everybody that's in the match yet because they never do that ever for anything. But we do know, at the very least right now, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Fandango, Goldust, Heath Slater, Matt Hardy, Mojo Rawley, Primo, that was surprising, Rhino, both members of the Revival, Ty Dillinger, Tyler Breeze, and Zack Ryder. So still missing on this list that are almost 100% guaranteed. No Aiden English, although he's not necessarily, he has to, he could always just accompany Rusev. No Bray Wyatt, they haven't had him do anything since falling in that lake. No Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Kurt Hawkins, Elias, who could be wrestling here, or he could just do the musical segment. I'm leaning more towards probably just the musical segment. Kane, who could very easily just not appear. Mike Kanellis, he hasn't been wrestling since, I think, October. Maybe he pops up, maybe he doesn't. More than likely, I'm going to say no. Sin Cara, he should be a guarantee. The Ascension, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, The Miztourage, Titus Worldwide, and then it's up in the air for everybody else. You could throw in the Cruiserweights. You could throw in people from NXT. And we could see legends, we could see temporary returns, or we could see the injured people coming back. There's been reports that Samoa Joe is actually cleared now. So, kind of thinking maybe he wins. But I think it's down to two people here. There had been rumors of Goldberg making his appearance, and I really, really doubt that that's the case, because if they would have announced the Andre match for the main card, I would have thought maybe. Pre-show, no. Goldberg's not going to come out on the pre-show and win. And I really thought Rusev had a good chance, but he's not in the match anymore. So I'm thinking it's either Samoa Joe or Big Cass.
That's a good one, Big Cass. Much like you, Tony, I had Rusev winning, but as soon as they announced him for the United States title, obviously that's not happening. If it's the first match of the pre-show and it's on the network only, then I kind of think maybe Corbin wins it. If it's on the USA Hour, maybe we get a Lars Sullivan or Samoa Joe. But if it's on the first hour, I think Baron Corbin.
God, it's so hard to care.
I think that's what WWE's mentality is for this too.
I've narrowed mine down to two. I think Samoa Joe has a big chance he does return. If he is returning at WrestleMania, then he should win this match. Just in order to give him a platform to push onto Raw's main event scene pretty immediately, because they have him scheduled for live event matches with Roman Reigns and stuff like that. So he's going to be prominent straight away. So this gives him a quick launch pad. And then my other choice is Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah, I thought about that too.
Because they referenced his losing streak on an episode of Raw, so they planted the seed in people's minds. And I wouldn't be surprised even if he doesn't win, he's one of the last few people in the match.
God, I hope not, because they can't just book this thing as being like, wow, this is the match where the jobbers win at the end. Isn't that shocking? They did it last year. Mojo and Jinder Mahal. At the time, Jinder Mahal was nothing, and Mojo was even less than nothing. They ended up fucking winning just because of Gronk.
Well, just have a look at the people that have won it. So they've had Cesaro win it, which was supposed to be a big deal, but didn't amount to anything. Big Show won it because he's big, and he never won a Battle Royal before, even though he's a giant. Then you had Baron Corbin, who was in NXT, so wasn't even on the main roster at the time, and then Mojo Rawley. So it's not like it has a very strong lineage to uphold, and the only thing they can really get out of this is like either give someone like Samoa Joe or a Big Cass the big return and give them a chance to win a match immediately, or you just do something that's going to have a funny story on WWE.com and have people tune in to watch it, because people will probably just repeat that moment where Kurt Hawkins wins on YouTube or whatever.
I think this is the year that they need to decide if this matters or not. And if they go with somebody like a Kurt Hawkins, or if like Primo wins just because it's like nobody saw that coming, then I think that from now on, we're going to go, all right, Andre doesn't matter. We give no shits whatsoever. It's going to be a jobber.
Yeah.
And if they get somebody like a Samoa Joe, or maybe a Big Cass, Samoa Joe means more, then people go, all right, this is actually going to matter in a certain, capacity. Joe is the smartest decision, I think.
What I like about Cass is he really does need a way to come back, because he left feuding with Enzo, and that's, a non-factor anymore. So if he's ready, maybe it is his night. But you guys were talking about funny moments, and I just thought in my head of Matt Hardy winning the thing, throwing it into the lake of reincarnation and trying to get Andre back to life.
If they did that, I'd be okay with Matt Hardy winning. Why not? But there is a chance, though, that the reincarnated Bray Wyatt wins. That's a good way to incorporate something in there. But it's a pre-show, so I kind of don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. And I think that there's also a chance that if they do give it to Big Cass, that they just drop off the face of the earth again.
Yeah.
Here's another alternative option for Big Cass. If he doesn't win this here, I think they need to bring him back with the Superstar Shakeup. And just be like, and the latest pick, or if maybe they do a draft on Backlash, maybe they just wait, who knows. Then they just go like, we're going to bring in a new person on SmackDown here, Big Cass, he's back, and like that kind of thing. That's the only other way that they can do something with him. But I'm kind of hoping it's Samoa Joe more, just because I do want him to. He didn't get a WrestleMania last year. And if they don't put him in this match, he's not going to have another WrestleMania. And at this point, give him the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal win. Make it seem like it's worth something. He has more momentum. It gets him back on the card. You accomplish so much with such a simple task, Yeah.
But there is also the argument that Samoa Joe coming back is a big deal regardless of whether he wins it or not. So Samoa Joe could just turn up on an episode of Raw and SmackDown and just immediately be in the main event, whereas if Big Cass does it, it doesn't mean too much.
That's true.
But either way, the smart decision is one of those two returns and wins it.
What about Dolph Ziggler?
I'm not going to say it. If he does, I'll be happy, but I don't see them putting any stock in Ziggler ever. So, fuck it. Baron Corbin wins again.
I could see a scenario, if it's Big Cass and he comes back as a babyface, I could see Ziggler being the last person to get eliminated, but I don't think he's winning. Now, I could also very, very easily see a situation where Ziggler is one of the first ones out.
He usually is, isn't he?
No, he usually does his little shtick of hanging on in every single scenario possible. Just gets thrown over and then hangs on by one finger and then pulls himself back in.
we also have to talk about how much this match was made irrelevant last year with Braun Strowman's involvement. They had Strowman in there. He got eliminated by whoever, and
Everyone.
It was the pre-show. And he just came out the next night and beat the shit out of the guy who beat The Undertaker. And it was like, yeah, Braun Strowman lost in the pre-show, but he's a main eventer. So I just don't see this match being any kind of important, unfortunately.
Probably not. And that's what's sad about it. But that's not going to be the case when it comes to the inaugural Women's Battle Royal, because you guys know, I don't know if I'm spoiling something here. This is pretty historic. They've only had one of these before.
And they've already had 2 trophies made for it. History.
So this is the second inaugural one with a different name, a different trophy. We've already talked about the fallopian tube trophy.
Mm. Less chance for a male winner this time.
Maybe. Who knows? James Ellsworth could come back and win.
This is where Big Cass makes
Dream identifies as.
Where Big Cass makes his return. He's got long enough hair.
He becomes Big Cassandra.
Don't give them ideas, Tony.
Right now, the people that are announced for this, oddly enough, they're missing people, which is like, how do you miss people like this? I don't understand it. We have got Bayley, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Lana, Liv Morgan, Mandy Rose, Mickie James, Naomi, Natalya, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Sasha Banks, and Sonya Deville, or Sonya Deville, I'm still not sure. So, Alicia Fox is injured. She's probably out. Tamina is injured. She's probably out. Nikki Bella is still completely just, like, whatever. And Brie Bella, same kind of a thing, but I think that we could see the Bella Twins here. They're going to be in the area for sure. So, I think there's a good chance Bella Twins pop up. But they've already announced ahead of time Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So I'm pretty sure we can count most of the women from NXT. So that should be Aaliyah, Bianca Belair, Billie Kay, and Peyton Royce. Maybe Candice LeRae. Maybe they don't actually put her in there. Dakota Kai, same kind of thing. Kairi Sane, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, Ember Moon and Shayna Baszler. I don't really know. Tainara Kanshi and Vanessa Bourne. We could also get people like Jesse Elaban and anybody who's like hanging around the Performance Center. We know that we're going to get Progress and Evolve talent. So for not only the Andre but also the Women's Battle Royal, we could get some of those people in there. You know, Justin Kincaid or James Kincaid or whatever his name is.
Jason
Justin, right?
Kincaid.
Jason. That was close. Old Kincaid Smith is... we can see people like that.
Major indie wrestling fans here.
The Mae Young Classic talent could be popping up in the Women's Battle Royal as well. So they could fill in a lot of different spots here. And we could also get people like Ivory in the match, you know. There's a possibility. One person that I feel really bad about, the only person on the main roster right now that doesn't have an injury, that is not being named, is Dana Brooke. Poor fucking Dana, man. Like, I think she is probably the worst wrestler out of everybody in the company right now for, like, just pure women's wrestling talent. But, shit, like, give the girl a break. Announce her for the fucking match, you know?
I thought she did okay on Raw this last week. It was like
she's
the biggest
not awful. That's the thing. And she's not the way that she used to be. She used to be more fit, and she showed a little bit more promise, I think.
Mm.
Now she let herself go a little bit. She's not like fat or anything like that, of course, but like you look at Dana Brooke from NXT and you look at Dana Brooke now, and they're not the same. And she clearly has not proven herself as far as a character to be able to get any kind of like promotion based off of that and stuff. And they're really just kind of keeping her around for the sake of keeping her around. But like, okay, you don't value her all that much. I can understand that. But she's the one person. You can't just add her into the graphic. You can't just throw her on WWE.com. That sounds kind of shitty to me.
I think the company solidified the way they feel about Dana Brooke on Raw when she was kind of making her entrance, and they quickly shut all the lights off on her and hit Asuka's music, and I thought that was hysterical.
I'm just double checking right now just to be sure that they don't have her in there. Because maybe there's a chance somebody added her, because the website has been like wonky as shit lately. They have not added anybody to the Andre. That is new. And nope, she is still not listed on. So they can't even go into an article and just click the edit button for her. That's what's so strange.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand like
somebody who would be elevated from this match if they wanted to give her the win here. You know, I might not hate it because she could use the elevation.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing in the world, and it wouldn't be the best decision in the world, I think. And it would kind of lean a little bit more towards the idea of like the Andre one. We were talking about Kurt Hawkins winning and stuff, because she's the female Kurt Hawkins at the moment. But at least announce her for it. Like, she's not going to win. Nobody's going to value her more than anybody else. Give the girl a break. Just put her in the fucking advertisements. So she could actually, at the very least, she can share an image of all the other women in the Battle Royal and be like, look, I'm wrestling at WrestleMania. I feel bad. That being said, she's not going to win. She's literally, I think there's a more solid chance that Alicia Fox returns from injury and wins.
She is healthy. She's ready to go.
She is?
Yes.
I didn't see anything about that.
She and R-Truth are ready to go.
R-Truth is too, huh? Oh, well, he's not winning either. Especially not the Women's Battle Royal. I think that there's even more of a chance of, like, Jazzy winning than Dana. And Jazzy's not even in the company right now. But I'm going to make this threefold. Number one, who's the best person from Raw to win?
Bayley.
See, the tough thing about it is it's the Bayley and Sasha Banks thing. Yeah, I'm going to pick back up on that, but I'm going to say Bayley too. All three have us saying Bayley. Who's the best one from SmackDown? I'm going Becky.
Carmella.
Yeah, either one of those.
See, I'd go Becky because I would think that what might be kind of interesting is if Bayley and Sasha and Becky are the final three, Bayley and Sasha are like so fed up with each other that Becky just dumps them both over. And just goes like, the two of you are fighting each other, you get nowhere when you fight. I'm Becky Balboa, I won, bitch. Like that kind of thing.
Well, I kind of go with the Carmella thing of like trying to show her off as being opportunistic. So you have like Bayley and Sasha Banks fighting, and Carmella just sneaks in and eliminates both of them, and then you just left with a doubt in mind. Will she swoop in and steal the SmackDown Women's Championship later tonight as well? Make it a double header.
Possibly. So if we pick from NXT or outsider type stuff, who do you guys think is the best option for that?
Ember Moon.
Yeah, if Ember Moon loses the title, I can easily see her winning here.
Same thing for Shayna Baszler, I think, although she's not going to lose. But yeah, I think Ember Moon probably is the best one. Although I would really, really love this idea where they've been talking for the Andre match where the Revival are saying, we're going to be the first tag team ever to win. And then Heath Slater and Rhino on a Fallout video, they were like, we're going to be the first tag team to ever win. And then it was pretty funny afterward. Rhino, when Heath Slater walks away, Rhino's like, no, I'm actually going to throw Heath over the edge at the end. I would like an iconic duo win, where maybe we're down to Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. Bayley and Sasha aren't on the same page. Iconic duo, toss them over, and they say, you know what, we're going to have a joint win this time around.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I'd be down for that.
Mm-hmm.
They're way overdue for a debut.
I'm really kind of leaning towards either that happens or it goes to Bayley or Sasha. And between the Bayley and Sasha things, I want Bayley to turn heel more than Sasha. And Sasha's been kind of leaning towards a heel, so I think it makes more sense to do the swerve. I don't know how they would do it, but I'd prefer the Iconic Duo to win. But I think it's going to go to Bayley.
I'm literally going with Bayley because when they had it announced as the Moolah Battle Royal, I had Sasha winning because she's the boss and Moolah. I thought that would work. But this trophy just looks like it's Bayley's softball Little League trophy. And I think it fits Bayley to win the thing.
Her Little League trophy from last year.
I'd just go with Bayley because Sasha Banks is more like organically over at the moment. So Bayley needs something. And there's also the ongoing story of like Sasha not actually being able to beat Bayley in most situations. So this would just be another thing that Bayley has over on Sasha, which could lead to either one of them turning heel down the line. But I just like the idea that like Bayley is Sasha's kryptonite almost.
This is one match where I would not mind a swerve. Like, we need to establish this match is important because you know they're going to do it every year. So let's build somebody here. And, I mean, Bayley, they haven't been very good to her since she debuted on the main roster. So maybe this can start a real Bayley run, you know?
Wouldn't it be kind of funny if it's like Jessamine Duke? Just kind of like, fuck it, we're going all 4 horsemen here.
Well, we're that much closer to that dream match of yours, Tony, with the 4 horsewomen.
Well, it was a dream match before I knew how bad Ronda Rousey was. Christ. We'll talk about that later. That's towards the end of this discussion, though. Let's talk about the tag team titles. Both of them. Let's go with
on the main show, great.
Yeah, we're finally on the main show. So, America, blah, blah, blah. There you go. We got that out of the way. SmackDown Tag Team Championship is a triple threat match. There was a little bit of a rumor that it was going to be a TLC match, although they went through SmackDown this week and they didn't announce it. So either they do something at the last minute and they announce that, like they did last year where they just threw the Hardys into the mix, or it's going to stay a standard triple threat. This is one of many matches that we have tonight. I'm really skipping forward to Sunday.
It's Wednesday.
My days are so out of whack that I'm just kind of like, fuck it, I guess it's WrestleMania. It's in my mind 24/7 now. We have 2 battle royals, 2 triple threat matches, 2 tag team matches, a fatal 4-way, and then a match that's supposed to be a tag team match, but it could potentially be a handicap match. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches on this entire card out of 14 matches that are singles matches. That's a little crazy.
4 title matches and what else?
The what is it we got? We got
Cruiserweight match.
Yeah, Cruiserweight, Universal, WWE, and oh wait, no, we've got the 2 women's matches, the 2
men's
world titles,
and
the Cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight, wow.
And then potentially Cena and Undertaker as well.
Yeah, well,
right.
Maybe. So, triple threat match for the SmackDown tag team titles. The Usos, the New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers. Maybe a ladder match, maybe not. If it is, I don't think it changes anything. Usos have to lose, I think, here. And I'm going to just go with the basic option. I think the Bludgeon Brothers are winning.
Is Extreme Rules the next pay-per-view? No, right?
No, Backlash.
Okay, because I thought, maybe we get a rematch next month, but probably not.
And then there's the whole draft kind of situation that might switch things up, and, you know.
Did they do any build-up last night outside of the, hey, you can watch it on your tablet, and then everybody just kind of shows up all weird? Or is that the only promo for the tag titles match this week?
Yeah, that was it.
Wow. So a match I'm looking forward to in terms of in-ring ability, but I thought it would be a lot more meaningful than what it's shaped up to be, and I'm going to go with the New Day because I think they're infatuated with the New Day, and the New Day wins another title here.
Really excited for this match, just because I'm excited that it's on the main card, because the Usos and the New Day especially deserve to have a match that wasn't relegated to the pre-show, like I was worried it was going to be. They've carried the entire SmackDown division for the best part of a year, so they deserve to have like a big showcase match. But I don't think either of them are going to win it, and it's going to be the Bludgeon Brothers. And I think they're going to probably hold it for quite a while as a team to essentially become a dominant tag team for someone like the Authors of Pain or something like that to knock down further along the line.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas one of the Usos and the New Day, I think, will probably move to Raw in the draft. I'd probably assume the Usos because they've been on SmackDown the longest.
I'm actually kind of thinking the New Day moves.
I mean, they usually push more of the merchandise movers onto Raw, but
actually, what's like, I think a good factor for this is what's going to happen with the Raw tag titles, because the New Day were rumored to be like that they wanted to give them multiple more title reigns to get them to have the most amount of title reigns, and then they didn't really give them any more. They gave them one more, and that was it. and it was a real quick one. So I could see a scenario here where the New Day wins the titles and then they drop them at Backlash. You know,
they had two, didn't they? They had two on SmackDown. They've had two on SmackDown. They were both really short.
No, but I think they've only had one more since that story came out.
Oh, right, yeah.
That
back and forth between the Usos.
Yeah.
So I do think that we've got the New Day winning titles in the future, but I don't think that it's necessarily happening here. And I kind of agree with your idea. The Bludgeon Brothers could be set up for the Authors of Pain. But then again, maybe the Authors of Pain don't necessarily go there. Maybe the Bludgeon Brothers stay on SmackDown, and if we get Strowman and somebody, maybe the Authors of Pain come up as heels, and they're the ones that beat Strowman and his partner. That's where I get a little bit weird, because I think that there's a good scenario here where if the Authors of Pain go to Raw, New Day wins the titles instead of the Bludgeon Brothers. And then the Bludgeon Brothers win on SmackDown, like, a month from now. I can see that happening.
There's a lot of different ways they can go with this. They could keep the title on the Usos for all we know. Even though they've held it for quite a while, it does keep them established as, like, the dominant team on SmackDown and in WWE.
And if it's a ladder match, it's easier to do that, too.
Yeah.
You know, you can have the Bludgeon Brothers lose a ladder match because they're just not getting pinned, and, you know, that's just kind of one of those things. Same thing for when we talk about TakeOver. You can easily have Lars Sullivan and Killian Dane lose that ladder match. They don't need to win.
It doesn't take much off them.
No. So, I think if I'm doing a gun to my head, I'm going Bludgeon Brothers.
Yep, same.
One for New Day, two for Bludgeon Brothers. No for Usos. Boo. But the Raw Tag Team Championship match, we're all in agreement here. Bar is losing, right?
Yeah, I think it's about time.
Yeah.
Just more along the lines of thinking that they're going to be split up in the draft, because they've pretty much accomplished. They've accomplished everything they can do as a tag team, and they're both good singles wrestlers in their own right. So,
I'm thinking either they go to SmackDown or one of them goes to SmackDown, but they're not sticking together on Raw.
No.
So who's going to be Braun Strowman's partner? Is it going to be Braun Strowman? I'm still going with Big Show.
Big Show or Kane makes the most sense to me.
Big Show, in terms of that, as soon as this was announced, my mind went to the Big Show. If they want to go with an actual surprise, I'll say, like I said, for the Andre, Samoa Joe or Lars Sullivan for a surprise.
I had thought that maybe Big Cass would show up here, but I don't think that Cass and Strowman makes a lot of sense, more so than Big Show. And I could see Big Show being like, I'm going to take you under my wing a little bit, you're the new Big Show, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they've fought each other enough times, so like Strowman's earned Big Show's respect, so they can be a tag team, and Big Show's like old and vulnerable a little bit, so he can be the one to eventually lose the championship down the line to keep Strowman from having to take a pinfall.
Mm-hmm. And then probably turn heel, feud with Strowman for 1 month. Strowman beats him.
Retires him.
Yeah. If they do team up, do we do that whole Show Miz and Jericho thing where we call him Braun Showman?
Or
the big
Stro?
Yeah, like
the big Braun Showman.
God, all those things sound awful.
I don't know anyone else.
I would prefer anyone but Big Show, but because I just know the predictability of this company, I just see Big Show coming in, even if it's like for a month reign and then they lose it to the Revival or whatever. They wanted Strowman on this show, so they said to hell with the rest of the tag division. Here's Braun Strowman, and by June or whatever, they're gonna want him in the Universal title picture. So whatever happens, it won't be for long, you know?
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking a month or two.
Yeah. But it doesn't really hold too much consequence, really. I mean, you have Sheamus and Cesaro that have held the championships for like a long enough time, so they've hit the end of their stride as a tag team. And the team that does defeat Braun Strowman and, say, the Big Show or whoever his partner is, they still defeat like a big name. So they get a bit of rub from defeating Braun Strowman's team and becoming champions. So I think it actually is long term it benefits the Raw Tag Team division.
Depending on how long it works, depending on if they have something like they could do, that David Goliath thing, and it could end up being like him and Ray. I don't think that's the case, but I don't want to see that. I don't want to see like the big guy and the little guy, and that sort of thing. I like that for certain things, but for this, I don't think it's going to work. Awesome Piata Man brought up a funny point on the Mixed Match Challenge video. He said, what if you continue the Team Little Big thing? And Alexa Bliss is like, I got a partner for you, and it's Buddy Murphy. And then he's just kind of like, fuck, I gotta be teaming with that cute girl's husband, that kind of thing. I thought that was funny.
Is there anyone from like NXT that could potentially, like obviously Robert mentioned Lars Sullivan, but is there anyone else that could potentially be called up alongside Strowman?
Honestly, I don't think anybody works. There's even like a No Way Jose. It would be weird to have him dancing along him. Or,
Adam Rose comes back and he's a Rosebud again.
Damien Sandow comes back and he pretends to be Braun Strowman.
Like,
for it, actually, that's the sad part.
If there's anyone that would come back that's from outside the company and comes back, I'd go with Ellsworth.
Yeah.
just for the pop, because it would be huge, him just coming out immediately, and like he finally earned Strowman's respect. And they could lose the match and Ellsworth just take the fall, and then Strowman could beat up Ellsworth, and then everyone would be happy still.
Well, we do have advertisements that Big Show is going to be in the Greatest Battle Royal. I hate that fucking name, by the way.
The Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's what it is. Greatest Royal Rumble. See, I'm not even calling it the right name because I hate it so much. The Greatest Royal Rumble is a stupid-ass name, but they've already had advertised not only Bray Wyatt being Bray Wyatt, which is a little bit weird, but they've advertised Daniel Bryan, John Cena, Triple H, etc., and Big Show. So Big Show's ready to go. Big Show is going to be inducting Mark Henry. So he's clearly in the area. He's doing promotional stuff. I'm thinking it's Big Show. And then it's just going to be, they're just going to wipe the floor with the bar,
Yeah, a quick. I don't think it'll be completely quick. I think they'll get some beats on the Big Show a little bit early on, but yeah, Strowman will just clear house afterwards, and then we'll get to see a double chokeslam spot, which is always good.
So if one match is going to have a person retaining their titles, I'm leaning towards the United States title match. It's a fatal four-way for those who aren't aware. Randy Orton. Oh, I have this typed out wrong on my screen. I've got Bobby Roode being the champion. I have to change that. Bobby Roode, Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal, and Rusev. Those are the people that are in the mix for that. Randy Orton, I think, is going to be retaining here. It's not something that I would see being a guarantee, though, at this point. The more that things had kind of come about with the Rusev thing, the more I'm thinking maybe they're going to actually give this to Rusev, and maybe they're a little bit worried that Rusev is going to leave, and they just give him the title because they're just kind of like, all right, how about we just give you the title, and it's not the most important title, but it's still something, and maybe that'll suffice,
Well, isn't that exactly what they did with Ziggler there?
Kind of.
And then took it away from him immediately.
Yeah.
That could happen with this, though, too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Jinder, and I don't think it's going to be Bobby.
If Rusev wins here, he loses it on Tuesday.
He could.
Potentially.
Or at least on Backlash.
I would say out of like a lot of these matches, like this is one of the ones that does have the most likelihood of the champion retaining, pretty much because it doesn't have a lot of consequence. Randy Orton only just won the championship, but it almost feels to me like it's one of those championship reigns that he's holding because he'd never held it before, rather than like them giving any fault to him holding it for a considerable amount of time. It's more about just like, okay, he never held the United States Championship, so we'll give him the United States Championship, and now he's held it, we'll give it to the person who we actually want as United States Champion. And I think the main story of the match is the Orton-Bobby Roode dynamic, because they've been concentrating more on those two, and the other, like Mahal and Rusev, are kind of afterthoughts almost. But I kind of feel like if they focus in on Orton and Roode, then both of them are essentially going to cost each other, and I think Mahal's going to win.
Yeah, I agree. Mahal wins here.
So 2 for Mahal and 1 for, well, it's got to be Orton or Rusev. Poor Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
He just lost the title though, so it's like, why would they just give it right back to him? You know.
I mean, I see the Orton Rude feud continuing beyond WrestleMania, but I don't think that needs the championship. Whereas you could give the title to Mahal and use it to elevate a few other people. And I think just after the year Mahal has had, for him to end it kind of with nothing and really just mired in the mid card, just with no real upward momentum, just feels like it was a completely wasted year. I don't really want to feel like it was a completely wasted year.
I'm actually going with that. I think that Mahal is going over to Raw, and that he's going to fight Roman Reigns at some point.
No.
I don't want it.
I'm cool with Mahal on SmackDown. He can be the Indian in America holding the United States title, because they wanted to go there from day one with him. So
that's the way they should have,
Let's
instead of
do
the world
it.
title. But I think that would just repeating the same story again that they did before, and I think that they probably value Jinder Mahal as being like a main event talent at this point. So I think that he's going to go to Raw. He's going to be somebody that gets sacrificed to Roman Reigns and feud with like Finn Balor for the IC title and stuff, which I'll get to in a minute.
To be fair, that's what we thought. That's what we thought when he was feuding with Randy Orton, and look what happened there. It took me someone that could fed Randy Orton's title reign.
See, that's why I also think that he's not going to win this, because he beat Randy Orton for the WWE title, and it would be a little bit weird for him to beat him for the United States title too.
We doesn't have to pin Orton to win it.
No, but I mean, it's still going to look like it goes Orton Mahal and then Orton Mahal on like the record books and stuff. I'm sure they don't care.
Yeah, it's never stopped him before. I don't see it stopping him now.
It'll be the real feud of Orton's career, not Cena or Christian. It's Jinder Mahal is his real antagonist.
There's not a long standing history of them necessarily giving titles to people just to keep them happy. There is that in the case of like Dolph Ziggler and stuff. So I think that there is a chance that Rusev wins here, but I still think we're going to get an RKO to somebody, and it's going to be Orton. And going forward, I think that Orton is going to drop that title soon enough, because I could see Randy Orton versus Shinsuke Nakamura happening at SummerSlam, or maybe even a little bit earlier than that. And I think that he's turning heel, too. I think that dropping that United States title when he does is going to cause a heel turn. Maybe it happens sooner than later. Maybe with this draft they're going to want him to turn, but I'm leaning more towards Orton stays where he is right now. So that'll be interesting. If Jinder Mahal wins, two people got it right. If Orton wins, one person did, and if Rusev wins, then Dane's going to be happy.
I was just going to say, but from that, like, if Rusev doesn't win, do we see him being released soon?
I don't think so. I think that he's probably going to stick around at least a little while longer, and they'll probably just kind of be like, look, we'll give you something, but then they don't. Because look what happened with Sin Cara. Sin Cara was heading towards the end of his contract, and right at the same time, they started giving him a push for the United States title against Baron Corbin. 2 or 3 weeks later or so, he signs a contract, they drop him off the face of the earth, and he hasn't been seen since. If he's got a contract coming up, they could give Rusev a little bit of like, look, we're focusing on you. Yay, we love Rusev Day. Like, and then that's it.
I think if they go with Rusev, it's to play off the hype of Rusev Day and the crazy crowd and all that. But I don't see Rusev holding it for long at all if that's where they decide to go.
Plus, he hasn't fully turned babyface.
No,
they made it a point this week on SmackDown to make sure that he was still kind of a heel. So, I don't know. And I alluded to this a few minutes ago, but the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match is going to be The Miz against Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, and I am 100% going Finn Balor.
I'm so excited for this fucking match.
Very high chance of it being the best match of the night.
I mean,
I cannot wait for this match.
The Rollins Balor match on Raw was like just a taste of what we can expect, and they've obviously had great matches for the Universal Championship. Hopefully this one doesn't end with somebody's arm like being dislocated in several places or something along those lines. I don't know whether adding the Miz makes it better or not. It gives the match a really good antagonist, which is obviously good, but overall these are three of the top talents on Raw, so you should expect that it's going to be a great match. I agree with Tony. I'm going with Balor for this one.
Going with Rollins, and Balor moves to SmackDown.
Well, that's why I'm going for Balor, because I think Rollins is moving to SmackDown.
And I'm going the same kind of thing. I think that Rollins against anybody on Raw just doesn't seem like it's anything to pay attention to anymore, because he's already had, and that's of course that could change too, because anybody with a draft, you switch people up, it's going to change things. But Rollins versus Reigns, we've seen it. Rollins versus Samoa Joe, we've seen it. Rollins versus Balor, we've seen it. We didn't really get Rollins versus Miz all that much, but maybe the Miz changes too, because it's Daniel Bryan. But if we get Rollins on SmackDown or Balor on SmackDown, the other one wins the Intercontinental title. And that should be like 100% a definitive clarification here. Whoever wins the IC title stays, but they don't have to. That's what's weird. Somebody could win the United States title, whether it's Orton or not, and we could do that swap again. It's not the Raw, Women's Raw Tag, or the Universal where they need to stay. And for that matter, the Universal doesn't need to stay either.
No,
but it's not going to. It's a big red belt, but all they need to do is commission it to be a big blue one. That's all they need to do.
They just spent a lot of time building Rollins on Raw and selling a lot of Monday Night Rollins shirts. I think Rollins has found his niche as the workhorse of Monday Night Raw. Rollins wins the IC title here. Miz goes away for a while to be a newborn father.
Newborn father.
Well, I didn't know how to phrase a father to a newborn. Whatever. Miz goes to SmackDown because I think Bryan's staying there, and I think Miz versus Bryan is where the money is. And Balor goes to SmackDown because he's the perfect third to Nakamura and AJ.
Yeah, then you leave the Good Brothers with nothing again.
Well, they can move over to SmackDown as well.
The reason why I go with Balor to be Intercontinental Champion, because I kind of see that as his ceiling. I know a lot of people view him as a potential main event talent. I just think that he fits better into the upper mid card, just mainly due to his size, and he's obviously a very good wrestler, but it's more due to his lack of charisma. And I think Rollins should be a main eventer wherever he is, and holding the Intercontinental Championship seems like a bit of a relegation for him.
Question here: do we see the Demon?
You kind of have to, yeah.
And if they don't, then they need to fuck off.
And that's also part of the reason why Balor should win, because the Demon should rarely lose matches, really. If they're going to give it any sort of personification or some sort of importance, he shouldn't lose many matches while as the Demon.
I'll put this out there. If Finn Balor wins the title and goes to SmackDown, Rusev wins the United States title and goes to Raw.
God, so many of your match results are predicated on other match results.
I know. That's what sucks. But I'm still leaning towards the idea that Finn Balor wins here, and that's predominantly because you factor in all the things like the lack of the charisma, the fact that he hasn't had anything going for him since that Universal title win, and Rollins, just maybe a change of pace. He goes over, he could do something with Nakamura, maybe if Styles stays on SmackDown, they do something there. But if Finn Balor would have won on Raw this week, I think I would have been leaning more towards Rollins. They tend to do the whole, the person who wins on Raw before the show loses at the pay-per-view. Rollins beat Raw. Rollins beat Finn Balor. I do think that a good point that Robert brought up was the Monday Night Rollins stuff. But t-shirts, maybe not the most important thing in the world too. I don't know.
They've done those sort of things before. I mean, Cena changes shirts every month or so. And they did the remember the Y2AJ? They had those shirts go out, and then as soon as they came out,
what if they just do? Okay, we can't do Monday Night Rollins anymore, so let's do Seth Down.
That's what I thought of that. Hey, this is Seth Down, Or maybe we get Burn It Down shirts that look like the SmackDown logo.
Maybe, or maybe it's just a limited time. One of those things. That's something to pay a lot of attention to, though, everybody. The whole scenario there where they could switch the titles around, they've switched it before. The Intercontinental United States aren't something that has to stay on Raw and SmackDown. So pay attention. But I do think it's going to be one of the best matches tonight. That's going to kick some ass.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something that I think is going to be very quick, though. Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. I am hoping this is under 2 minutes.
If they don't break a record here, if Nia doesn't just run right through Alexa, they did it wrong.
I think so. Under 5 at the very, very most.
Yeah, I'm going for sub 3 at the moment. And I think the only reason why it will extend out a few minutes is because Mickie James will get involved.
Mm-hmm. I could see Mickie getting involved. I could see Alexa running around. I could see Nia playing with Alexa a little bit. But she has to run through her. It can't be a 15-minute. Alexa Bliss took out her legs and she's doing drop kicks and that kind of thing. This needs to be a squash.
I mean, it's quite ironic because I don't know if ironic is the right word to use, but with the fact that Ivory is going into the Hall of Fame this year
with China.
Yeah, her WrestleMania match with China. It needs to be like that, really. It's just like the big Amazon just destroying the champion in like a few minutes.
And for the people that will complain and they'll say, why is there women's battle royal on the pre-show? And why would this be something that's really quick? You're going to get Ronda Rousey being the star of her match with Stephanie McMahon. And more importantly, you're going to get Charlotte Flair and Asuka getting 20 minutes.
Probably 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
30. Yeah, and also, it's the story.
Yeah. It's the smallest woman on the roster against the biggest woman on the roster who is angry with her.
Yeah. Do you want to see Alexa Bliss get the heat on Nia Jax for 10 minutes or something like that? Just stomp on her repeatedly. It's not going to look realistic, is it?
And plus, Bliss has done enough for anyone to complain. Oh, you're squashing Alexa, Alexa's done more than enough.
She's held the championship for basically the entire year.
Absolutely.
If you count the SmackDown stuff too, she's had 4 title reigns. She's basically been champion for 2 years.
It's not like losing this match will mean she's out of the picture entirely, although even though I think that she's incredibly talented, I'd be fine with her taking a bit of a back seat for a little while.
I'm thinking she goes to SmackDown.
I hope so.
I think it's almost a bit too soon, really, her flip-flopping between Raw and SmackDown all the time. She already went from SmackDown to Raw, so I think she's fine being there for a little while.
I mean, that stuff, we'll see. Post-WrestleMania, we'll have a better indication.
I mean, do you really want her to move to SmackDown and feud with Asuka again?
Yeah, well, they never really had, a feud.
They never did it.
Yeah, they did, but they didn't. It's kind of one of those weird things. And I think that, even more importantly, the idea that, depending on who else changes, we've already seen Alexa Bailey, we've already seen Alexa Sasha, we've already seen Alexa Becky, and we didn't really get Alexa Charlotte, but I can see Charlotte sticking to SmackDown more so than Raw. I think they're going to keep Charlotte and Ronda away from each other, and Asuka and Ronda away. So Asuka and Charlotte as the 2 main baby faces on SmackDown, Nia and Ronda as the 2 main ones on Raw. I think that's how we're going to go. And then you got Bailey, Sasha, and Becky, whoever turns, they're going to be the tertiary ones, that kind of thing. You need a strong heel on SmackDown, and Alexa is somebody who, she's a strong heel, Certainly not Natalya.
I do think that they moved Charlotte only because you need a match for Ronda for SummerSlam. But yeah, I definitely see Nia running through Alexa here, and hopefully Alexa goes to SmackDown. I think she was just better there. I don't know why.
But we're all in agreement. She gets her ass whooped. Nia takes the title.
Absolutely.
Especially with the storyline it's been told as well. You can't really have the mean bullies attacking the overweight woman and have the overweight woman lose in the end. It just doesn't send a good message.
Do you think that there's any chance Carmella cashes in?
I thought about that. I really thought maybe they move Carmella to Raw like that by having her cash in on Nia.
But I don't see Nia Jax being hurt at the end of this match.
Right.
But she could be distracted.
I mean, she could be, if they decide to, double team or something. But if she's distracted, does Carmella roll her up? Do you roll Nia Jax up?
Or we get something, this is very, very, this isn't going to happen. So nobody take this as, Tony's prediction of, this is what's going to go down. It's not going to. But just, playing devil's advocate, you get Mickie James ringside, and you get Alexa Bliss getting steamrolled by Nia Jax, and Mickie starts doing something. Nia starts chasing her around, and Carmella runs in and pins Alexa.
I would love that.
Because Alexa's beat to shit, and Nia is busy with Mickey, and then, you do that. It's not going to happen, but...
That would be a lot of fun, though.
It is a possibility. Like, it proves that if they think about scenarios like that, it could happen, but it's not going to. Carmella's going to cash in during the Women's Championship match, I think, for SmackDown instead. Or she's going to cash in afterward, I think. And we're going to get Charlotte versus Asuka. Asuka's going to beat Charlotte, and it's going to be a real long match. It's going to be potentially a really good one. Maybe not as good as people are going to be willing to admit that it was. I could see this being something where it's like it's good, but people think that it's great. And Asuka, she has the undefeated streak. She's going to win. And if Carmella attacks afterwards, she tries to cash in, Asuka beats Carmella. Asuka's not losing.
No.
You really think they're going to save Asuka for Ronda?
Mm-hmm.
I think the more they hold out, though, the more people will be pissed off when it's Ronda Rousey that does it.
I don't think they care. I think that they're so gaga over Ronda that they think that that's the best thing to do. Even though she's been botching like crazy.
I think, the big thing along those sort of lines is everyone would think that Rousey's going to win, and maybe Rousey would be the ones to take the streak, but it would be like intriguing match. Be intriguing in the build up to it if they did do Rousey versus Asuka and Asuka wins, because there's still that everyone might think, oh god, Rousey's going to win, and then if Asuka does beat Rousey, then everyone's like, oh my god, like they're really behind this girl now. Who's actually going to beat her? And then you start building up whoever. I still have in my mind that I want Ember Moon to be the one to beat her. I think it makes the most sense in the storyline perspective. But I'm looking forward to Charlotte versus Asuka. I think it'll be given plenty of time. It should be a very good match. Charlotte is probably, at least in my opinion, the best female worker on the main roster at the moment. So I think she should be able to put a really good match together. I've been disappointed with the feud, just mainly because Asuka's still on Raw.
Yeah,
it's been really a real disconnect. I mean, I don't want to bring up his name too much because we know what sort of trouble that can get you into. But when Chris Benoit won the Royal Rumble and he went to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship instead of the WWE Championship, he didn't stay on SmackDown for 2 months and then eventually go on to Raw. When he actually had the championship match, he moved to Raw. Whereas having Asuka on Raw instead, it felt really disconnected. Like they've both had to have separate feuds while they should be feuding with each other.
Right. The weird thing is that they made it seem like should she lose, that she would just end up back on Raw,
Well, I haven't. Yeah. Well, it hasn't even been clarified that if she wins, she moves to SmackDown.
You would assume that would be the case, but yeah, they haven't really said wow, I can't wait to have Asuka on the brand, like that kind of thing.
Well, it might be in the sense of if Asuka does win and she has to go on SmackDown mandatorily, then maybe SmackDown have to trade someone over to get her. Almost like a sense of well, she's got your championship, but she's still under contract with us. So if you want her, you got to give her someone in return.
And that's how Daniel Bryan ended up on Raw, everybody.
Yeah, we're all going to Asuka.
How good do you think the match will be?
I think really good. I think Charlotte is. I think first of all, Asuka is very good, and she takes a lot of risks. And Charlotte is pretty much fearless, and will, in previous matches with people like Sasha Banks and Bayley and all the other sorts, she'll throw herself from the top of the turnbuckles down to the floor. She'll charge into anything. She'll get hit through the announce table and stuff like that. She will take whatever risk needed to have a great match.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
I think it'll be not as good as Sasha Bayley Brooklyn or even Ember Moon Asuka Brooklyn, but it'll be the best one-on-one women's match I've ever seen at WrestleMania for sure.
I think there's not a huge amount of competition, unfortunately, on that regard.
Yeah.
I think that people are going to make this seem like it was a 10 out of 10, and it'll cap out around a
6.
an 8.
I would be. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with an 8. Like
Yeah,
every
I mean,
match
it
in the
ain't,
show was
it
an
ain't
8.
good. That's the thing. Like, I don't think that this needs to be, and people do this all the time, and it drives me crazy. People are like, if it's not the best ever, it's the worst ever. It doesn't have to be. You know, this doesn't need to be the best match of the year for both the men and the women for it to be a good match.
Yeah.
It could just be a good match. And I think that people are going to fall into the trap where they're going to go into this with way too high expectations, and they're either going to be disappointed and be like, well, that match sucked. It wasn't the best perfect thing in the world. Or they're going to be disappointed in the sense that they're not going to think that it was a 10 out of 10, but they're going to convince themselves that it was because they're going to overcompensate. And if it's, you know, an 8 out of 10, an 8.5 out of 10, of course, it's totally subjective. You don't actually have like a point system and stuff, but it's one of the things where if anybody botches and stuff, and if like we call attention to the fact that it was like, well, you know, there was kind of a sloppy moonsault there, and it was kind of this, and they sort of lost their way about midway through the match and had to pick it back up, people are going to be like, what? You're sexist. This was the best match ever. And it's
Which
like,
is the thing that I was going to bring up.
if you do the same exact match with two men, then people would be like, man, it was all right. One of those kind of things. It's going to get the Wonder Woman scenario.
And that's what I was going to say. The women are under such a microscope where they have to be like amazing and groundbreaking every single time. I wouldn't be surprised. I think it was The Chamber when Michael Cole said that Sasha Banks went up to him and was like, Michael, I'm scared. You know, they want us to top ourselves every time, and we don't know how much else there is to do. I wouldn't be surprised if that was real, because they're under so much pressure.
And if they don't succeed, WWE just tells everybody that they did.
Yeah.
It's just, that was such a historic match. Wasn't that one of the best matches ever? And then some people buy into it.
But, I mean, I'm not going to go into with the expectations of saying this is going to be the greatest match on the entire show, because, first of all, I don't believe it will be, but second of all, you shouldn't do that with any match on the show, because you shouldn't have the expectation that this match is going to be the best one, because you're just going to be disappointed in the end. But I have a lot of faith in Charlotte to put these sort of matches together. So I think she's going to pull something out that's going to make this match memorable.
I'll put it this way. It's not going to suck.
No.
No way in hell.
No, it's not going to suck. It'll be
shame.
Good, if not great.
That'd be a real shame if it did. I mean, it's not going to, but like if for some reason something just went horribly wrong.
Yeah, like 2 minutes into the match, somebody tweaks their knee.
Because like obviously there's a lot of women's matches on this show, which is good, a really good thing. But like this is the centerpiece one. I mean, obviously Rousey's the big star, but this is the centerpiece like women's matches. Then women's matches will go about 20 minutes and is meant to like light up the audience. So this one, these two are under more pressure than pretty much anybody else, I think.
Yeah. We have 4 more matches still to talk about. Isn't that crazy? Let's talk about one of the tag team matches. One of the ones that is dealing with the commissioner and general manager type of scenario, because we have 2 that are like that. We've got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. We've talked about this a little bit. Daniel Bryan's return is the marquee thing here. But there's a stipulation behind this. If Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn lose, they remain fired. If they win, they get rehired. This is the same situation as the Gargano-Ciampa thing, where somebody's fired, yet they're getting a chance to not be fired. Instead of, you're going to get fired if you lose. It's kind of strange. They're almost like backwards booking, and they're doing 2 of that.
I mean, I think people have read too much into it. I mean, we'll obviously talk more about the Ciampa Gargano one, but it's more along the lines of, you can see why Bryan wants to get these 2 in the ring because they beat the crap out of him. So that's why he's essentially agreed to that match, because they've been fired, so they have no obligation to go into this match if he didn't give them the opportunity to win their jobs back. They could just say, no, I don't want to fight you. You fired us. If you want to fight us, which I know you do because we beat the crap out of you, then you've got to give us a chance at our jobs back. So I think it makes sense, even if does seem a little bit backwards on the surface.
Yeah, because like, why would Shane McMahon be like, yes, let's give them a chance? It'd be more so just like, all right, I want to beat these guys up, but fuck it, they're fired, that kind of thing. But I will say, I think Daniel Bryan can't lose, and the scenario that they're going to go with here is Backlash. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go to Raw.
Well, all right, I'm gonna gonna just say right now, I don't think that Daniel Bryan and Ronda Rousey win both of their matches. I think one has to lose. And I think the way they set you up here is that Bryan has to lose. So I think if they're really determined to start the show off with, it's WrestleMania and here's Daniel Bryan, if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn lose, they're helping Triple H and Stephanie beat Ronda and Kurt, and that's how they end up on Raw.
I didn't think about that option. That's kind of interesting.
I have a really sinking feeling that WWE is going to turn Daniel Bryan heel in this match.
That was going to be my other.
Which, I mean, is the most backwards thing because, first of all, you can't turn Daniel Bryan heel. It's literally impossible. He could beat up like a cancer kid in the middle of the ring and they'd still chant yes.
Like, yeah, fuck that kid.
Yeah, because it's just a case of he's the big returning hero for this match. But I get the feeling that they want to keep Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on SmackDown, and they want to form like a triumvirate between those two and Daniel Bryan, or maybe even those two and Shane. But I think probably it's more likely those two and Daniel Bryan, which is meant to have the effect of turning Daniel Bryan heel, but it will actually just turn Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn babyface, even though they don't mean for that to be the case. Just because I think if you keep Daniel Bryan on SmackDown after this, you have, at the top of the card for SmackDown, you have Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. Then you potentially have someone like either Seth Rollins or Finn Balor moving over. That's a lot of top-level baby faces. And then below them, you've got Jinder Mahal, Rusev, potentially either Bobby Roode or Randy Orton. Really only Randy Orton really levels up to their level of main event status. So you kind of need someone to turn heel. Unless you keep Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on SmackDown as well.
That's why I think one of the reasons why Orton's turning.
Potentially. Yeah, potentially.
And I could actually see Finn Balor turning too.
I think that would add a little bit more dimension to his character.
Yeah, but, he could use it.
Keep in mind, at some point, Dean Ambrose has to come back. And he has to turn heel.
You think
I think he ends up wherever Rollins is, though, because I think he's got to go straight to that Rollins rivalry.
No, I think he needs to go with Reigns, because that's the only one that hasn't had an extended feud yet.
Fuck him, go to NXT.
We know how Tony feels about Dean Ambrose.
I actually like Dean Ambrose. I just really want him to turn heel, because they didn't get a chance to do pretty much any of the matches that I've wanted them to do. I wanted him to fight Samoa Joe in like some kind of extreme role street fight type of thing. And they just never did it. So it's like, fuck it. Jason Jordan eventually is going to come back at some point. He needs to be working in the mix too. And maybe they get him up that upper mid-card type of spot. I don't know. But Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I think that the way that they've been doing things with them crashing shows and stuff, I really think we're going to get Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon beat them, and for the next 2 weeks or something, 3 weeks, whatever it takes, they start making pitches to Stephanie and Stephanie and Triple H, and kind of doing the whole Monday Night Raw thing. And maybe that's actually why they balance out The Miz. Maybe The Miz goes over to SmackDown to balance out Kevin Owens.
That wouldn't be a problem.
No. I mean, the easy way to do this, the easy way to do this match is just have Shane get beaten up for a while. Daniel Bryan runs wild and wins the match, beating on like both of them. That's just the straightforward, easy way to do it, and that's the way I would do it. Because sometimes you just need to do the right thing. Usually, I go with the idea of like you need to start building matches with the idea of like what's going to happen next after this match. Whereas this one is the one time where I think WWE should just go for the moment. Just go for the moment. Don't think about the future. This moment doesn't matter what happens afterwards. Just this. Have Bryan win. Have the sea of yes chance in the crowd. Like that's the thing that you should aim for.
The placement of this on the card, I think, is going to be something that's tricky. And just looking at the 4 matches that we still have that we're talking about, I don't think it's going to be these 4 as the last 4. But yeah, I'm kind of going in order of like importance, sort of. And I think that they're in a situation where these are the 4 potentially most important matches, 5th being Asuka and Charlotte, and you kind of need Daniel Bryan to be the one who's winning because he's the only one that's guaranteed to be cheered the way that he would be cheered. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, I'd argue there's probably going to be more chance for AJ Styles than Nakamura. So there's going to be people disappointed for Nakamura on that one. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns sure as fuck is not going to go down with a bunch of baby faces, cheering the whole Roman Reigns thing. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, even though Ronda Rousey is the most interesting aspect of that, and Kurt Angle is popular, people are still going to chant for Triple H and Stephanie to a certain extent. So if you get, say, a moderately mixed but mostly positive response for Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey, moderately mixed, mostly positive, a little bit dwindled down response for Shinsuke Nakamura, and you get a lot of boos for Roman Reigns, if you make Daniel Bryan lose, I think you're really going to piss off the crowd.
Mm.
That's a good point.
Then you got people who like Charlotte over Asuka. You got people who are disappointed that maybe, Rusev doesn't win the United States title match. 3 really popular people in the Intercontinental title scene. There's a chance that maybe people walk out of this disappointed, predominantly if Daniel Bryan doesn't win. I think that's like the linchpin. At least give them Daniel Bryan victory. They celebrate. You've got that one shot of the crowd being really happy, and then you start hitting them with the shit that they don't like. You know what I mean?
Hopefully that doesn't go on too early then, because you probably need the pickup in the middle somewhere.
And on top of that, if we get the John Cena Undertaker thing and that ends up being disappointing.
Oh, yeah.
There could be a lot of disappointment things, and if Daniel Bryan doesn't win, I think that people are going to go, well, fuck this WrestleMania.
Tony, this is a happy time. This is WrestleMania, please, with your grim predictions here.
I'm actually really excited for Mania. I think it's going to be really great.
Yeah.
But I feel like I shouldn't be, and that I'm getting myself a little bit too hyped up, and I'm going to be disappointed, but I'm really actually thinking it's going to be a great show. And that makes me nervous.
With the Daniel Bryan winning, though, there's going to be like 2 people in the crowd just go like, oh, I wanted Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to win. And then they're just like, oh, this whole thing has been fucking shit.
There's always people that are going to go, oh, they're just pushing Daniel Bryan.
Oh, I bet he's going to win the title.
Same old shit. Shoving them down our throats. And it's like, you just want to hate everything.
Why don't bring back the young guys like Triple H and like...
At some point, they're going to have to acknowledge the fact that Bryan, should he want to be full-time, cannot be SmackDown GM. I really thought that would be one of the stipulations of the match, where if Bryan loses, he has to not be GM. But
I think it's just going to be Tuesday night, he and Shane McMahon celebrate, and he says, look, I loved it. I feel great. We won. That proves to me even more. I want to be full-time. I have to step down as Raw GM, SmackDown GM.
And then Hulk Hogan's music plays. And the crowd goes mild.
Braun Strowman comes in.
And Braun Strowman is the new SmackDown General Manager.
I'm going to run the numbers. That kind of thing.
No, it's not going to be Braun Strowman. It's going to be Owen Kevins.
It's going to be Dana Brooke because she's a statistician.
Yeah.
So I'm going Bryan and McMahon.
Yep, paint by numbers. Daniel Bryan wins, and we get a big yes chant.
I'm going the opposite. I'm going to go with Owens and Zayn still. I agree with you guys that is the right way of doing it, but there's still the doubt in my mind that that's the way it's going to go.
Well, are we all going Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey?
Up until I started realizing that Owens and Zayn are going to need a job after Bryan and Shane, I would have said, yeah, they're going to tap out simultaneously, but I do think Owens and Zayn might get involved and cost Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey and get jobs on Raw.
Tapping out simultaneously. That's all I'm going with.
I mean, the main thing that I'd go with the Owens and Zayn getting involved is that I think they will eventually get a job with if they do lose the match on Raw, but they can't really do anything to Ronda Rousey, can they? Because they don't do the man versus women violence, so they can't really do anything to Ronda, so they can only attack Kurt. So I just don't see them doing that.
And they don't really have beef with Kurt right now.
No. I go along the lines that, maybe the I was thinking maybe the dual tap out, but I think they might just give it to Rousey to tap out of Stephanie.
At the very least, Stephanie's tapping out to Ronda.
Well,
and I think that's going to be the official part of the match. But I think at the same time, Triple H will probably try to do something to Ronda, and Kurt Angle will put him in the ankle lock. And
I mean, part of me thinks that she might get Triple H to tap out.
Well, they've firmly established on the Mixed Match Challenge that they can't. So if they do that, then they're throwing that out, But they've done it before. They've done their own rules like that, but I think she's had enough of beating up Triple H, and they don't need it, I think this match is going to be awful, by the way. I'm really thinking that this is going to be the worst match of the night.
What do you think of the feud has been like?
Shit. This is supposed to be one of the things that I'm the most excited about, and I probably care about it the least. I probably care more about who's going to show up in the Elias musical segment. All right, you know what? Actually, I'll admit this. There are two things that I care less about than this. Kid Rock and Chloe and Haley. Those two.
I haven't minded it too much. I mean, Rousey hasn't been great, but
she sucked.
She needs to come out of her shell a little bit more.
She needs to work on everything. I mean, I know people are like, give her a chance, and I will, but she has been training, and I got a feeling she's more so just been training basic moves and not really learning all that much, because she doesn't have timing down. She doesn't have personality down. She is just Ronda Rousey, and she comes out no matter what the situation is, smiling. So I think she's still kind of wow, I'm heading to a WWE ring. Admittedly, that's kind of crazy, so that's fun. But when you're supposed to be angry, for her to come out and be like, oh, I'm really, really happy, and then be like, oh, now I'm supposed to be angry. Ooh, I got my angry face on. She botched that line to a certain extent. That was a really good line. She didn't fully botch it, mind you, but it was
she just didn't deliver the follow through.
She got flustered because they reacted to it. And she had a really, really solid line there. And if she would have nailed that, then that would have gone all right, maybe she's getting a little bit more comfortable on the mic. But she panicked. And you can tell because after she had that whole, I think it was Jordan that was saying she wanted to do the whole thing where let the audience react and don't step over their reaction. But if that would have been the case, she would have followed it up with the actual line instead of, I want to make sure that you sign my checks if, because rip it off. And it was wow, you really lost your train of thought right then. Mm. She has sucked, though, at each move that she's done. She has been awkward with her timing on everything. And even the idea of Stephanie picking her up and throwing her through the table, it was a little bit awkward the way that happened, partially on Stephanie's behalf. But then afterward, Ronda's like, am I angry? Am I hurt? Am I just going to sit here? So I think her participation in this is going to be atrocious. And Kurt Angle is not the Kurt Angle that we used to have. So the Kurt Angle Triple H stuff, I don't think that's going to be fun either. I'm really thinking this is going to be the worst segment of the night.
That's been my biggest disappointment with the feud, is the fact that they haven't really played up a lot about Kurt Angle. He's become Rousey's sidekick. Mm-hmm. Which I know they want to make Rousey a huge deal, but she kind of already is a huge deal, so you don't really need to hammer it home too much. Whereas this is Kurt Angle's first WrestleMania since 2006. Has only wrestled a couple of matches since his return. Him and Triple H and Stephanie have a huge storyline rivalry stretching back to 2000.
Yeah, I was really upset that they didn't bring up all of that stuff. Because they've been bitter with each other since they first got in the company, or Kurt first got in the company.
Yeah, and it's been both behind the scenes, in real life and in storyline, it's been played out. And the fact is that Kurt Angle's now just been reduced to being essentially Rousey's coach almost, the faceless coach that has to be in the match because there's another man in the match. So he just fills in. He's like a token man in the match.
Yeah, which is odd, but that is how they're playing it.
He's Kurt freaking Angle. He's my favourite wrestler of all time. So I'm excited for this, just because I get to see Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, which I never thought I'd ever see again. But I know it's not going to be the Kurt Angle that I've been used to seeing in previous WrestleManias. I'm not expecting like WrestleMania 19 against Brock Lesnar or WrestleMania 21 against Shawn Michaels, but
great match.
It's still Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. I think all this time that Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar are wrestling on like a WrestleMania card, like that many years later, just like blows my mind. Admittedly,
that's also how I feel about Triple H, and I hate when they do this thing where he's just Stephanie's husband. I really do get upset by that because, you know, Triple H is the man, to me anyway. But like, I think Kurt Angle's entire run since he came back has been in a almost comedy capacity. Like, he's been so willing to just go for the laugh and just kind of be funny Kurt Angle, or, you know, even he gets flustered with his lines. I'm so disappointed with Kurt Angle in this run. And we keep saying he's not the Kurt Angle of old. He was wrestling on TNA right before he left and re-signed with WWE. He was wrestling pretty good matches with Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre. It's not like Kurt Angle can't go. It's that I think he's holding back because he wants to be more of a character than a wrestler.
Well, I also think that WWE are probably holding him back because he's approaching 50. He's had serious neck injuries in the past. Like, they weren't going to let Daniel Bryan wrestle because he suffered like a few concussions while being in WWE. Like, they're probably hesitant still to put Kurt Angle out there in matches.
And I don't want to sound too cynical, but who's to say he wasn't just like kind of doping himself up before those matches, and he can't do that anymore?
He hasn't been. Well, he claimed at least to have been sober for like since about 2015, so it's been a while.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He also claims that his Twitter got hacked a bunch of times.
And I can't vouch for him. I can only go by the man's word.
Yeah.
This match should be great. It's going to be Ronda Rousey, a spectacle. I'm throwing out the Owens and Zayn thing because I want there to be some kind of a happening here other than, okay, here's Ronda Rousey. Okay, that was the Ronda Rousey match. You know, but that's probably how it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. I kind of think just more like Kurt Angle and Triple H wrestle for 10 minutes and then Ronda Rousey gets in for a couple of minutes and then...
I'd be okay with that because I want to see Kurt Angle wrestle Triple H.
Yeah.
I want it as quick as it can be without problems.
Yeah.
Because I don't want a Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon again.
No. But it's along the lines of like Triple H and Kurt Angle are there to have the match and Rousey and Stephanie McMahon are there to have the moment at the end.
Kind of. Because they can't trust Ronda and Stephanie to have the match. Well, Stephanie is not going to be able to help her along, and Ronda doesn't know what she's doing. So,
yeah, it's along those sort of lines. I mean, I know you talk about like the fact that Rousey may not be up to scratch yet, and I can, like, based on what she's done so far, I can completely like agree with that situation. But Stephanie is not a wrestler, so you can't really trust either of them to be in there for more than 5 minutes, probably even more than 3 minutes together without fucking something up. So.
What's the over-under on 3 moments where Ronda is having her sourpuss face and Stephanie is either smiling with the evil cackling smile or the bug-eyed, uh-oh, you have a hold of me?
At least
3?
A good 4.
Oh, there's going to be plenty of times. Like, Stephanie's going to have that look on her face the entire time that Triple H is getting heat. So... And then she'll have the bug-eyed look when... I
mean, specifically the two of them in the ring.
Oh, right.
Oh,
she won't be smiling a second that they're in the ring together. I think it'll just be the bug-eyed thing. I think it'll just be the one.
I'm thinking you're getting a smile when she slaps her at some point. And it's like, yeah, I could fucking beat you, Ronda. And then Ronda will do the same thing again, where it'll be like she'll catch her when she's trying to slap her a second time. And then it'll be like, oh, you've got my arm. Oh, no.
I've got kids.
Yeah, she wears one of the Slater shirts. Well, that is whatever it's going to be. WWE is going to fucking harp on it no matter what. And
one thing we can count on, because we get it every year with Triple H, They're gonna have an elaborate entrance.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what ends up happening with that. So they've done Conan, they've done Terminator, they've done Biker Triple H, which is kind of strange.
Biker.
I don't fucking understand that one.
They should come out as USC fighters this year, just to try and rub it into.
That would be hysterical.
Yeah.
Or like full-on corporation authority, where they're surrounded by like hundreds and hundreds of people in suits, and it's like some kind of Orwellian nightmare. I like that. Would have worked better against Daniel Bryan, but you know.
Yeah.
Second to last thing to talk about here, the WWE Championship match, potentially the first match of the night. That's what we were talking about earlier. AJ Styles going up against Shinsuke Nakamura, the Royal Rumble winner. The winner of this match, Shinsuke Nakamura, is winning. I see no other scenario here. They wouldn't have been building this whole thing up just for Styles to retain, I think. I'd rather Styles retain, though, oddly enough.
Well, Tony, what did they build up? This could have been the easiest built-up match ever. All you had to do was show video packages of them training. They didn't need to do the whole thing where, hey, I'm going to fight Rusev this week, and you're going to watch me, and we're going to fight Gable and Benjamin, and we can't trust each other. Nope. The whole reason they're doing this is because it's the dream match for the fans, because it's the, 5-star classic.
It's a Smark match.
Yeah. All you had to do was show them training. I'm really surprised that they had to have some kind of WWE type of, well, they're a team and they can't trust each other. I was really disappointed in the build to this match.
Well, the build's predominantly been Shinsuke Nakamura saying need a face.
I've loved this build.
Face.
I love this build so much. I thought it was really, really well done. Just because this is the first time since Nakamura's been in WWE or in NXT that I've actually felt like he's a big deal. Like it's kind of along the lines of him playing mind games with AJ Styles behind the scenes by saying that I'm not going to hurt you. I have no intention of hurting you until we get to WrestleMania. So I will keep an eye on you. And Styles just being a bit like mistrusting and be a little, well, I'm still like the man. I'm the WWE champion. I'm the face that runs the place. And Nakamura just be, okay, but we'll see what happens to WrestleMania and I'll knee you in the face. But that's cool.
AJ going, that's freaking dumb.
It's like the idea that that's like he's been charismatic. Like most of the time for his entire WWE run, they've given him these really terrible lines and dialogue, and the stuff with Jinder Mahal was terrible and absolutely racist as well. But then you have this stuff where he's with AJ Styles, who've worked with before, so you don't really need to play off the history too much because the smart fans know what the history is already. But then you just play off the fact that Nakamura's a very cool, collected character, and he's just going to subtly get into AJ Styles' head going into the match. I think Nakamura's promo work in the build-up to this has been really good. It's been short, it's been very concise and focused lines, but they're good, and he's delivering them well. I've understood everything that he said, and I've understood his entire motives this entire way. So I think he's actually going to be a good WWE champion, rather than someone who just like doesn't do promos or doesn't feel as comfortable as he would have been in Japan. This has maybe like built my confidence in him being like a main event star on SmackDown.
I think he's dropping it by SummerSlam.
I mean, he's got to drop it eventually, but I don't really mind who it is too, as long as it's somebody like a Rollins or a Bryan or maybe even Styles again or something along those lines, or Orton. But I think he could have a decent run with the title, and he'll get a lot of decent matches out of it as well. And I think my main issue was the fact that it was going concurrently with the Charlotte feud, which is also kind of a respect-driven feud between an American star and a Japanese star. So they were kind of like just doing the same thing, which isn't that great to look at. Like, I thought
especially since those are the two Royal Rumble winners too.
Exactly.
So it's like on the SmackDown side of things, we've got Japanese person wins the Royal Rumble and they respect their opponent.
And then yeah, that's basically it. And I thought this one it worked because they've got a lot of history together, and even though they don't really trust each other, they like the respect has been earned in the ring. Whereas the Charlotte Asuka one, I think they could have gone a little bit more heel Charlotte because she's really good at that side of things. Whereas this one, you kind of have to keep both of them babyface because they're both going to have a section of the audience devoted to them anyway. But
would you guys be happy with Styles retaining?
I'm not entirely convinced that he won't. I think there's a very good chance AJ Styles retains.
I wouldn't be against it, but like I'm fine with either one of them being WWE champion because you should just have one of the top stars have a championship. But I think the fact that Nakamura's already lost a feud for the title with Jinder Mahal, if he doesn't win this, you kind of pigeonhole him as someone who's just not going to hold the title at any point.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, I'm like,
awful.
you know, I think it's 105% chance for the most part that Nakamura wins, but I'm not a part of the group of people that would be so distraught if that didn't happen.
No, I wouldn't be distraught, but it's just lines of this is probably his biggest opportunity he's ever going to have in his career to be WWE champion. So if you're going to do it, you kind of have to do it now. Because further down the line, it's just going to feel like a little bit of a token, like, oh, we didn't give it to you when you were supposed to get it, so we'll give it to you now, type thing. Whereas now is the kind of the moment. And also, I like Royal Rumble winners winning the title. It makes the Royal Rumble. It makes the Royal Rumble feel important. You should. It doesn't have to happen all the time because it becomes too predictable. But like, if it's
75% of the time it should happen.
Yeah, exactly. And they've already had too many times in the past where the Royal Rumble winner hasn't won it. So,
when's the last time that they have?
Randy last year.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Oh,
I totally forgot that was even the match from last year.
I try and block that out of my mind, really.
Goes to show you how useful that was, because we ended up, you put the title on John Cena at the Royal Rumble so he could drop it to Bray Wyatt at Elimination Chamber, so he could drop it to Randy Orton at WrestleMania, so he could hold it for like 2.5 months or something like that.
4 weeks.
And then drop it to Jinder Mahal, who sucks balls, and then at the end of the year they go, shit, we really don't want to have Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar. Why didn't we think twice about the idea that he's not a worthy champion to do that? Let's put it on AJ Styles the way that we should have. And you're right back to square one, kind of.
Yeah.
And Randy Orton is now fighting in a 4-way for the United States title, and Bray Wyatt isn't on the card because he doesn't exist because he's drowning at the bottom of a lake. So,
it just was also,
real useful.
Also, it's also great to say that, like, as someone who's been followed AJ Styles for quite a long time in his career, that he's walking into WrestleMania as WWE champion is
absolutely
great thing, and it should have happened last year.
And I'm really hoping next year he wins the Royal Rumble and he faces somebody and wins the title, I think.
That's a very big possibility as well.
I'm hoping, man, I'm just putting it out there. I'm hoping that some of the potential matches that we get for WrestleMania next year, I would love to see Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. I'd love to see AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, with Balor being a heel. I think AJ versus Rollins could be really good.
All on the same show.
Any kind of scenario like that for the WWE Championship,
yeah,
I think could be amazing. And for the Universal, give me Braun Strowman versus somebody. If you want to give me what I really want, give me Braun Strowman versus Samoa Joe. Or if Samoa Joe is busy with John Cena, Braun Strowman versus somebody other than Roman Reigns.
Gonna go with like the what odds do you think of this being the match of the night? Because obviously
Nakamura and Styles.
Yeah, because obviously this is the match that everyone is talking about as being the dream match.
50-50 shot.
Here's
this
the thing.
One or the Intercontinental.
If you put it on at 7 o'clock, which Tony seems to think will happen, I think you run the risk of people just forgetting about it by the time the show is over at 11:30, because it'll be like, wow, that match was really good, but you know, we're more left with anger about the Universal title match because you spread them out over 4 hours.
Yeah.
Well, all right, let's try to figure this out. We've got the pre-show has 2 battle royals and a cruiserweight. I'm thinking it makes a lot of sense. Andre, the cruiserweight, women's. Because it'd be weird to have 2 battle royals right in a row.
It could be, yeah. But I kind of think that they put. I think they put the Andre thing on the USA just because it's Andre, and people might just quickly go, "Oh, it's Andre the Giant. I remember him," and type thing with that.
Well, they might do that. I mean, that would be weird to do the women's first because they are so gung ho about, like, you know,
history.
But it's a possibility. If we're looking for a match to kick off the show to seem pretty fun, It can't be the Raw Women's.
No.
I don't think it makes sense for it to be the United States title. I think that's a buffer match.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Ronda Rousey, for sure.
No, I'd go with like one of the 2 triple threat matches. I think makes the most sense to me.
I don't think it's going to be Charlotte and Asuka. It's certainly not going to be Brock. So it really, the first match of the night has to be AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the Intercontinental Championship triple threat, or the Daniel Bryan match.
I'm going Daniel Bryan.
I think the triple threat tag team match could be it. I know it sounds like a bit of a buffer match, but it's like a high octane match to get things kicked off.
Maybe, yeah, you know. Well, the Raw one, no. But the SmackDown one, SmackDown one, maybe. All right, that'd be the 4th one in contention. But I do think that the SmackDown one is going to be a little bit more of a buffer one too. And
I just think the Styles Nakamura and the Daniel Bryan match, they feel like to me like pickup matches, like points where you think the crowd is just slightly waning a little bit because they've just seen the Nia Jax Alexa Bliss match, or they've just seen the Raw Tag Team title match. People don't really like. People would be interested in, but don't really care too much about. Then the match is sort of like, okay, we'll keep the flow going. Like it's gone down a little bit. Now we pick it back up again with this match. And then we get to the main event.
See, I kind of think that a pickup match could be the IC one.
Oh yeah, that'd definitely be one as well.
And you know, if it's not Nakamura Styles, I'm leaning a little bit more towards now that it might be the Daniel Bryan opener. I think it's between those two, because I think we'll get that, and then we'll get a semi-important match, like maybe the Raw Women's Championship, and then a little bit of a break with like the United States title, and then we're gonna get a pickup match, and that'll be like maybe that point will be the other one of the Styles Nakamura thing. Like, I mean, it's gonna be tricky, but at the very least, we know more than likely at the end of the night, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns is going to be the main event. If it's not that, it's John Cena Undertaker. And we don't know if that's happening. So,
you know what I hope that they don't do is spread out a lot of time over the show dedicated to the John Cena Undertaker thing. I hope if they do it, it's one whole segment, but I hope it's not like divided segments throughout the show.
Especially if it's like, let's spend 3 minutes here, 3 minutes there, 3 minutes there, and we've accumulated 20 minutes already. So we have one segment towards the very end of the show where the two of them fight each other or do a stare-off. Because we need to spend 3 minutes on it. We don't have any time. That kind of a thing.
Yeah, where are we going to fit in the half an hour worth of video packages?
We got all those video packages. We've got the Hall of Fame parade. We've got backstage interviews.
Kid Rock and Elias concerts.
Yeah, that's going on.
Really, you really could wrap this show up in 4 hours, and everyone would be happy because they saw wrestling for 4 hours.
I really hope that, and they're not going to do it, but I really fucking hope that somebody backstage says, look, if people haven't been watching Raw and they haven't been watching SmackDown, they don't need to know what's going on enough. They can watch the pre-show. Let's put the video packages on the pre-show, and let's just do the actual card on the card. Don't spend any fucking time on that, because that just convinces people all that more that they don't have to watch the TV shows. And they could go, well, just watch the video package before the pay-per-view. And I don't want to watch the pre-show because that's just video packages. I'll watch the main show because those are the only matches that count. And then you get the whole thing where it's like, whoa, why doesn't anybody tune in? Because they don't fucking have to, you know? Like, if you want to make a stance, make this WrestleMania the one that makes a stance. And you go, look, we are going to give you an hour of the pre-show maximum between the 2 hours. All the video packages, all the pre-show analysis, all the backstage interviews, social media lounge. If you want to catch up on WrestleMania, you have to watch the pre-show. The end. And then when it comes down to like, all right, we're on the main show, we're going to do America the Beautiful, bang, we're going to get into the first match. That match ends, bang, we're getting into the second one, the third one, the fourth one. And your bathroom breaks are, you either take a bathroom break during the Hall of Fame parade, you take a bathroom break during one of the matches you don't really like, or you take a bathroom break when it's like a John Cena promo or something like that. But you shouldn't have to piss every 10 minutes, and you shouldn't need a video package that you've seen on the pre-show that you've seen every week leading up to the past couple of months, you know? Same thing with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. They had the fucking match before. It's the same match. You know, like, I do not like this goddamn match.
Before we go on to the match that Tony has been dreading for 365 days, the one thing I hate about WrestleMania, and they really shove it down our throats at WrestleMania, is, hey, nobody cares about us any other night of the year. This is our big major show. We know we're not mainstream, so we're going to give it to a lot of these moments that are like, hey, look, Maria Menounos is in the crowd. And I always walk away from WrestleMania upset that I, follow the product so religiously, and they just don't care. Because all they care about is, hey, we have Kid Rock, hey, we have Maria Menounos, and hey, we're going to give you all these guys who won't be on Raw tomorrow, but we want you to know that this is our biggest show of the year, and it doesn't get bigger than this. So all the other shows where everybody else is busting their ass, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it sometimes.
Yeah, because Maria Menounos
if they do a
there.
quick, she's hot. So.
Yeah.
If they do a quick thing where it's just kind of like, hey, look at that, like we've got Adam Sandler's in the crowd and stuff, and then they go like, hey, I'm at WrestleMania.
Well,
whatever.
I wasn't trying to say
cool.
specifically the pointing to celebrities in the crowd. I'm saying how it becomes more of like this is our red carpet night, as opposed to this is the reason our talents have been working so hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which leads us right into the build-up for Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
So, should I repeat what I've been saying for a year?
I think we've had it. No, go ahead.
Roman Reigns gets beaten down by Brock Lesnar after spending the most amount of time that they've done of saying, look, can you please cheer for him? We promise he's not the company guy. We're going to make him the guy who is fighting the company guy. He's the one that actually supports WWE. Come on, Smarks, can you please get behind him? He gets beaten down, and people chant, you deserve it. That proves 100% right there. They've spent an entire year saying, you were wrong. We had this thing for WrestleMania 31, and you didn't support it. We were right. Eat it. You're going to like it in a year. A year passed by. The first time they had a chance to have the two of them beat the shit out of each other and stuff, and he gets no sympathy. That proves they didn't do anything this past year to change anybody's mind, and it's exactly the same situation as it was before. The only difference, they don't have Seth Rollins to bail them out this time. So we're going to get Roman Reigns beating Brock Lesnar. People are going to boo the entire match. And when he's celebrating at the end, and it's all like, isn't Roman Reigns the best fucking thing in the world? Which, by the way, keep in mind, I like Roman Reigns. That's what's so fucking frustrating about this. I like Roman. I want Roman to be my top star. I don't want him to be my top babyface against Brock Lesnar. That's the whole issue. If you would have told me last year when I was saying, oh Christ, we're going to get babyface Brock Lesnar, or babyface Roman Reigns beating heel Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34. If you would have told me, what if Roman Reigns turns heel, he wins the title at SummerSlam, he turns heel afterward, and we get John Cena building up his 17th world title reign against Roman Reigns, and John Cena wins the Royal Rumble and all this other kind of stuff, and you got the guy that everybody says was always winning every match against the guy who everybody says is winning every match, I would have been like, that's amazing. Heel Roman Reigns being the person that has to try to stop Cena from winning that 17th world title, that's, that's marquee, top of the line, grade A shit. But no. Roman Reigns will beat Brock Lesnar and we'll get at least a 7-month or so title reign. He'll fight Rollins. He'll fight Samoa Joe. He'll beat the crap out of everybody. He'll be a babyface. He'll be a babyface that gets booed. Nobody will learn a lesson. And eventually he'll drop it to like heel Dean Ambrose or something. And then that person will drop it in 2 months to somebody else. So then when we get to WrestleMania 35, it'll be Roman Reigns either winning the Royal Rumble to fight somebody or sticking around, the same kind of thing. And I just really hope they don't fuck over Braun Strowman. At this point, it's like, it's already going to suck. It's already going to be annoying, and they're not going to learn their lesson for Roman Reigns. Just don't kill Strowman in the process, you know?
Well, do you think they learned their lesson in that they're saving this Cena Taker thing so that maybe we have something other than Roman as the closer?
I don't think they changed the habit of a lifetime. I mean, he's main evented the past 3 WrestleManias.
Yeah.
And, like, they've hammered it in so much that, like, I don't think we can really... I mean, it's always good to try and be positive, but, like, if you do something enough times and it becomes so much of a habit, you can't just pretend like, oh, they're not going to do it this year, even though they've done it every other year beforehand. Like, you can't just... You can try and be optimistic all you like, but they're still probably going to do it because they've made a history of it. I mean, Roman Reigns is like a big Survivor Series. Like, he's always one of the last people in there. He's been in the Royal Rumble final 3, I think. Basically, every year he's been in the Royal Rumble. And now he's main evented for the past 3 WrestleManias, even though he's only had, 2 of them as World Championship matches, one against The Undertaker. So basically, he's had the World Championship matches and the only other match people really want at WrestleMania, which is the Undertaker match.
What did he do at WrestleMania 30?
He was still with the Shield.
Yeah, Shield tag team match against...
Was that quick thing where they won in like 3 minutes?
The Outlaws and Kane.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah, what a pointless thing.
But yeah, I can't see them not putting this match last. Unless they really get cold feet about it at the end of it. But they must know at this point what sort of reaction this is going to get. And they don't care.
It goes back to what Tony was saying about Bryan being the only guy who's going to get the reaction that he's supposed to get. Because with the Roman Reigns Lesnar build-up, I did hear a lot of, yeah, Roman. Like, even when he was walking to the ring, I heard, let's go Roman chants. And then as soon as he starts getting his ass kicked by Lesnar, the people love that even more, and they just start chanting, you deserve it. Because this is the one time a year where even more the crowd wants to really try to dictate everything and crap on whatever they can and try to hijack the shows. And that's why I'm nervous about this match closing, because when they closed WrestleMania 32 with him and Hunter, people were just up and walking out because it was no surprise. Everybody knows Roman Reigns is winning the world title.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to see that here. I do partially think the company should step up to the plate and on the pre-show, on one of the many backstage segments during the actual show, make this match no DQ. Make this match seem like it's going to be a real brawl, because I hate when they do the thing where this is super personal and then they get to WrestleMania and it's like they're having a standard wrestling match. And I think this is one of those ones where the weapons might really help people actually get excited for something, even if they don't like the finish.
I think that might depend on the fact that we've got so many triple threats and stuff. If they wrestle, like, say, the Intercontinental match, if that's a standard wrestling match, even though it's a triple threat with no DQ, then maybe they add no DQ to it.
I think...
Well, this match has been changed to an Extreme Rules match, that kind of thing.
But I think the difference between this match and the Roman Reigns Triple H match from WrestleMania 32 is that match sucked. Whereas, even though this might suffer from a bad crowd reaction, these two at WrestleMania 31 had a really good match.
Absolutely. They had a fantastic match.
And obviously, Rollins coming in saved it from, like, having the negative reaction at the end because people were so excited with the cash-in because it never happened before. But a lot of people were probably still swelling with the ideas of, like, maybe they don't like the idea that it's Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar again, but we never actually got to see the end of that match. So we never got to see who would actually win. And even though, like Tony says, it's pretty much 100% guaranteed it's going to be Roman Reigns, especially because Lesnar's probably not even staying with WWE beyond this match anyway. It's still... I'm still excited to see the end of that match because that match was really good and it was really physical. I think it's 3 years too late almost. Like, that match in itself was really well put together, and it was at a time when Lesnar was probably more over than he is now, and Reigns, while not popular, was like had a bit more. It was at the point where they weren't behind him, but it was still quite fresh. Whereas now it's been beaten down a little bit, where they still don't really. He's still not really a top babyface, but he's more like, oh, Roman Reigns, more like, oh God, Roman Reigns. Like now it's more like, oh, it's Roman Reigns. So it's a little bit more. It's like the match from WrestleMania 31, only it's a bit more apathetic this time, which isn't great. But I'm still excited for what they do. Like between the ropes, like if I can drown out the other crowd noises, or like I try and drown out the commentary in most matches and stuff like that, then I'm just excited to see what they do in the ring.
Sometimes during modern day Cena matches, because of the crowd, I will mute the volume. Maybe that is what I'll do for this match. You know, because as Callum said, they had a great match at 31. I like both guys. I'm just not excited for the crowd reaction and the inevitable, yeah, he did it. This is his Rocky moment with everybody, you know, a chorus of boos. But since it was shared with us, I'm just going to bring it up. What do you guys think about Heyman possibly turning on Brock here, going with Roman?
Nah.
I mean, Heyman,
I think if they would have done it, they would have done it at 31.
Potentially, but Heyman has kind of said that the only people that he would say with WWE to manage if it was not Lesnar is either Rousey or Roman Reigns. And I
think between the two, Rousey needs them more.
Oh, she definitely needs Heyman more, but I think it makes more sense to the story to give it to Roman. Because that's like, it wouldn't be a double turn, because Lesnar would be out of the company, essentially, if he loses anyway. But it would be the sense of, okay, we're finally giving Roman Reigns the heel mouthpiece. Like, Heyman's decided that Lesnar's on his way out, and he thinks that Roman Reigns is the next big thing, which is why he's been belittling him so much to get into Lesnar's head that Reigns isn't worth anything. And then he's going to guarantee that Reigns essentially becomes the next Brock Lesnar. The next, like, dominant guy that just keeps beating people down. And Reigns is a better promo than Lesnar, but, like, Heyman would be infinitely better in building up the matches than Reigns could be.
I'll put it out there. If this ends with Roman Reigns being helped out by Paul Heyman and he's going to turn heel and we're going to have that whole thing, then I'll think, you know what, the past year they had this plan and it'll probably work. But I don't think that's the case. I think I'm just going flat out. They think that people are going to cheer Roman Reigns and they won't. And then they'll be like, oh, God damn it, what do these people fucking want?
Daniel Bryan.
They want the people that they fucking want. Like, you know, you ignore people and you go with different things. And I think that this is where I mentioned before. The most frustrating part of this to me is I like Roman Reigns and I want Roman Reigns to be a top guy. And I think that they are mishandling him and they're ruining his career. So it's getting to a point now where it's almost a point of no return. If they keep doing this and if they have him just flat out beat Brock Lesnar and he holds that title, God forbid Roman Reigns holds that title for a year and drops it at WrestleMania 35, then I think we're going to get past the idea where he'll be saved. And Roman Reigns is just going to go down in history as just somebody who people didn't want, instead of somebody who they could have wanted.
I really hope it doesn't get to that point, because Roman is good. But Roman is so obviously forced.
Yeah.
What would you guys say if we get Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan next year?
It better end with Bryan winning so we can get a happy ending to WrestleMania, but I'd love it.
What if it ends with Roman Reigns beating him because they want to beat down the idea that, no, you're fucking wrong, Roman Reigns is the guy?
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I hate to get too down on WWE fans themselves. It's because we're part of those things. It's not going to do anything. People are still going to watch, so it doesn't really matter. It's the most negative thing you could possibly say, but literally, have they done anything? All the stuff they've done with Roman Reigns, the majority of people actually switched off. People like us, we're not going to stop watching if they did it next year and Roman Reigns beat Daniel Bryan. So say, oh, that's shit, and that's really the wrong thing they're doing, and that's really terrible. Oh, we'll be back for Raw next night and whatever. It's
okay, granted, but I don't think that gives them.
It doesn't give them the right to do it.
An open letter to just shit on our our chests. You know what I mean?
No, I know that shouldn't, but it does because it's that WWE and wrestling in general is such the weirdest products. If any other television show did stuff like this on a consistent basis, you probably would stop watching. Yeah, you'd be kicked off the air, you probably stop watching. Whereas wrestling has this hold on people. Once you get it, you don't lose it. Unless you find something else to replace it. And now there's no WCW or ECW or other major competition. You've also got New Japan, but a lot of people aren't going to watch that because of the different cultures. But you haven't really got an alternative. So
you got the SmackDown alternative.
Which is the exact story they've been telling for this WrestleMania. Hey, you have Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles. By God, this is what you want. We're giving it to you, but we're going to do this on Raw because fuck you.
Yeah. That's the match. They're giving us the match that we want, so they can have the match that they want. But it's on the lines of they could have Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns next year. They could have Roman Reigns win it. People will get upset, but they're still going to carry on, so it's not going to matter. I think if they were to do that, Reigns would have to be heel by that point, because I don't really see how else they lead to it other than one of them winning the Royal Rumble or something like that. But I think by that point you'd have to just either make Reigns would have to be heel in general, or just become the de facto heel for that feud.
He would just become the heel and not a heel. They would do the thing where that would be isn't this interesting? Because the two most popular stars, because remember, they had that line that they fed Coach, which was one of the most egregious examples of just bullshit, where they said Roman Reigns is one of the most popular superstars in the sports entertainment field, or whatever it was. No, it was Roman Reigns is well beloved, I think, by the sports entertainment community. Something along the lines like that. Sports entertainment community was part of it, and something about how people in pro wrestling love him. And it was just you've got to be kidding me. That is I mean, of course, again, let me reiterate, I like Roman Reigns. But that would be if you had somebody right now with a megaphone saying Donald Trump's approval rating is the best out of all presidents ever.
Only
flat out is that.
Donald Trump has done that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's sad about it. And if you look into the Vince McMahon and the Donald Trump way of their connection, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They both have this idea of nope. I mean, I don't know. I am right.
You don't know what you want. I tell you what you want, and then you like it.
Right. And if you go, no, I don't, then you go, well, your opinion doesn't matter. And then if you go, well, I like it, then you go, see, I told you. It's.
I think McMahon almost wants to see the Roman Reigns experiment work, because then he can just go, see, I got people to like Roman Reigns, now let's get this football league started, because we can beat the NFL and stuff like that. He can feel like he could do anything if he gets people to like Roman Reigns.
Vince McMahon's tombstone, instead of saying his birth date and his death date and everything, and saying an entertainer that captivated audiences or some kind of thing, it'll just be a quote, you fucking wait for it. And anything will be attributed to Vince McMahon in the future. It'll be wow, this WWE Performance Center took off, and it'll be you see, I fucking did it. And the XFL took off, 20 years later. You see, I fucking told you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Roman wins here. Not one of us thinks Lesnar's actually going to win and stick around, right?
No, not a chance.
Yeah,
I'm more curious now what they do with Roman Reigns on Raw than they do with anything here. Where is Bobby Lashley going to come out and be the first person who challenges him? Is he going to come out and cut a 10-minute promo where everybody boos him and he just says, "I'm the Universal Champ now," like that kind of thing? That's the more interesting aspect of this.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a shame that it's going to end WrestleMania with a bunch of boos again. That's sad.
I was saying
so.
Yeah. I was saying boo.
I was saying boo Reigns. That is WrestleMania 34 as far as now 5:30 in the afternoon on Wednesday. We have TakeOver tonight where that could, have some kind of influence.
No, we're not doing anything more tonight. We're going to bed.
Wait, we don't have... Oh, wait, yeah, not TakeOver. We have fucking NXT. Jesus. Goes to show you how scatterbrained I am right now. We have NXT tonight to set up TakeOver, and the next time you guys are going to be hearing us is going to be the TakeOver predictions. That's what I meant to say.
Hey.
And then the Hall of Fame is not going to have anything podcast-related. I need a goddamn break when it comes to that. But we will have a live chat on the Mega Maniacs for you guys to chime in on there. NXT TakeOver Saturday night is going to have a post-show, and WrestleMania is going to have a post-show. Jesus. And then we're going to roll along in the next week. So if you want to be aware of when these things come up, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel and ring the bell for notifications. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. Make sure you drop your comments below as well and tell us what you think about all these predictions that we've put out there. What are you most excited about? What are you least excited about? Do you think Undertaker and Cena is going to happen? Are we right? Are we wrong? Anything you want to toss out there, especially if it's something strange. If you got a cool idea for who should pop up in the Battle Royals or anything like that, who knows? But follow that kind of stuff all over the place, and smarkoutmoment.com itself for all the other kind of crap that's going on there. Pass this over to these two guys for anything you guys want to toss out. Robert?
Dude Felice on Twitter, Instagram, and all that, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for TakeOver.
TakeOver predictions.
TakeOver predictions. Whatever. It's a long week of wrestling. That's all that matters.
Callum?
Find me on Twitter at Meister14 and check on the Smark at Moment articles, because it's WrestleMania week and you should be literally looking at nothing else but wrestling related topics for this entire week. Otherwise,
unless you're checking out Fanboys. You're only allowed to check 2 websites this week. Both of mine. Not even Facebook. Nobody's talking to you. You have no messages. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's it for this. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.